It is Wednesday. It is time for BRAP. It's not. Sorry, we're late. By the way, 10 minutes late. Just been a crazy day. Just busy with work and other stuff. You know how it is. Just responsibilities and whatnot. Give me just a second, everyone. I gotta adjust my mic settings. All right. Yeah. So just like I said, just busy and late start. But anyhow, want to I'm not sure if the rest of B Money won't be here tonight. I'm not sure about Forte or Slow-Mo. Hopefully they join us tonight. I believe Game Logic may be joining us later as well. But I do have the one and only returning guest. You may know him as Agent Deli on the Twitters, but we refer to him as Deli. Deli, what's up, man? Welcome back to BRAP.
Hey, welcome. Well, thank you for having me back. But thank you for welcoming me back. Hopefully everything has been well, and I hope that everything has been smooth for you.
Yeah. No, I'm good, man. Like I said, man, getting ready for a vacation next week. So, by the way, no BRAP next week because BRAP will be out of town on vacation with the family. So, looking forward to that. Much needed vacation, I might add. I would say much needed because haven't gone anywhere really vacation wise. Well, that's not true. I did go to Ocean City, which you're probably familiar with, Delhi. But went there last summer. But no real like vacation, like per se, like real vacation, I guess. Used to have a beach house in Ocean City, and then sold it, and so, really haven't been like to the beach or out of town in quite some time. But anyhow, looking forward to it. So no BRAP next Wednesday. So but we'll be back the following week. And who knows? It's probably a slow news cycle next week anyway. Next Monday is Monday the 4th of July. Monday is the 4th of July, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be off, and then we'll be back shortly after. So, or the following week, I should say. But anyhow, it is kind of a slow news week. I mean, there's not a whole lot going out, I guess. There's some God of War stuff we'll talk about. We'll talk about some really interesting allegations about 343i, more specifically Frank O'Connor, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And, also talk about we'll talk about Crunch, because Crunch is back in the news. There'll be some other topics that we'll probably randomly cover well. By the way, I just dropped a link in the live chat. Please retweet the link if you don't mind. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat. To see some familiar faces. What is going on, Punk Kiddish? That guy Smitty. Captain Crunch, who I think posted earlier. Lord Metro posted earlier. True Serum. And El Windingo Rex. What is going on, everyone? So, and there's some other folks in there that haven't. And Dragonheart Boy, Dragonheart Yobi TV, peace, love, and life. Yes, sir. He's one of the most positive people, I think, on the Twitter space. So, anyhow, so Deli, like I said, man, it's kind of a slow. Well, outside of gaming is not a slow news week. I don't know if you've been paying attention to some of the January 6th hearings. Kind of spicy. Have you been following that? Considering you and I are in the proximity of the nation's capital and everything like that. Have you been keeping up with that?
Yeah, it's. I've been seeing it on my feed. I've just been kind of keeping tabs on it. Of course, I have my own opinions about the things, and we can dive into that later if you'd wish. But it's been a slow news week for games, so I don't really. I really haven't spent too much time talking about games this week. It just felt like more of a games industry news week. It seemed like there was a lot more of that stuff coming out, and that isn't about games. So
and that's actually probably a great segue into Crunch. And so that the interesting thing, there's every time we talk about Crunch, I feel like there's always a debate like, well, in any job, you're going to work long hours especially when there's deadlines and things like that. And I get that. Like I mentioned to you about, the firm that I work for and the work particular group that I'm in, the work they do. I mean, it's very, there is crunch, 3 or 4 months out of the year where, people working 60, 70 hours a week and traveling a lot. There's that road warrior type lifestyle where you're traveling, sometimes flying out to client sites for weeks at a time. So, There's that, but let me ask you: do you feel like people like there's working long hours, and then there's like absurdly working long hours? Like, is there a difference here? Um, when when we talk about crunch, like, or is just all crunch bad? Because I do feel like anything that is deadline driven or at a high level, I've never seen that be like a 40-hour work week in my experience, right? Um, so would you say like crunch is like the extreme of that? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, is it the extreme of like, hey, we all put in hard work when we need to, where crunch is just like, okay, this is just absurd now at this point.
No, crunch is like, well, I'm currently crunching. So to me, I think that it's a little absurd. Especially when like, let's say we're, we, if you're familiar with like agile and waterfall, like, water,
Yeah,
if anybody in chat isn't familiar with
methodologies.
that.
Yeah,
So waterfall is the idea of like just steady pacing throughout, and then right there at the end, you crank it all the way to the top, like 150%, and workloads go up to 100% for every employee, and then you just hope for the best, right? And then you have agile, which are like scheduled releases or schedule sprints, and it's like rolling hills, that kind of idea. Um, but like they're each one of them has its own pros and cons, right? But for me, crunch in general is just bad and excessive because I'm on my fourth 65-hour week now. I think my last day off was like earlier this month. It's the 29th right now when we're recording this. My last day off was the 7th. So it's about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Um, so yeah, it's been, to me, it's been real rough. And crunch is one of those kind of topics where people think it's just overtime. Like, ah, man, Deli, it's just a little overtime. But in reality, it's things like, um, you come into the office one day and your boss tells you, "Hey, we're going to a 996," which is 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. So now you're working 9 to 9, 6 days a week, and you get one day off, which is not a weekend. It's like a random weekday. So you'll get like a Wednesday off. So if you have kids, like me, if you have a child who's doing things like dance or going to school or like have to pick up from daycare, and I'm blessed to be in a position where I have my mother to take care of, of somebody. I could not imagine my coworkers being in a position where it's like, oh, I got to pick up my kids from school, but I'm off Wednesday and not Friday, or I'm off like this week. I'm off Tuesday and I'm not off a Saturday, or like 4th of July, people are working half the day, and
really,
by
4th of July?
yeah, like 4th of July, I have to work.
That's crazy, bro.
So I'm working. The only holiday that I've gotten off since I've started is Christmas. That's the only time the building actually shuts down and we aren't in full production, or I don't get emails or stuff like that. So, I mean, earlier this year, I had a situation where one employee, we were crunching earlier this year, and an employee he drives a Camaro, and it was snowing, and you know how snow is in the DMV. You either get a little bit or you get like blocks of it, right?
And no one can drive when it snows in the
And
DMV.
yeah,
By the way,
and
it's like, yeah.
nobody can drive in the DMV when it rains, let alone
This is
snows.
this is true, and it's like, and if you're trying to get into like parts of Arlington, I mean, fuck, if you're on 495, you're screwed. I mean, it's like it's literally like a parking lot at times, But I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so you're in this position where I saw one of my coworkers sleep in his car for like 3 days. And I offered to drive him home, but he was like, "No, it's okay. I prefer to drive my Camaro home." I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And he just ended up like wearing the same clothes and going to work again, on a 996. So he'd work 9 to 6. Or you can have a flexible schedule in between that, as long as you work 12 to 14 hours. So I choose to work like a 6 to 6 or a 6 to 8. That's my personal thing. I mean, I get up at like 4:30 in the morning. Like get up, eat, hydrate, stretch, go to the gym a little bit. or go for a quick run, kind of wake up and then, come into the office. And for me, like going to like a 996 is detrimental to my lifestyle because, like I said, like being on it for like all month or being on it for like several months in a row it's starting to wear down on me. And there's really nothing we can really do about it because it's just part, it's part of the business.
So let me ask you, because I the work that I do, I'm in TA, right? So I hear what you're saying. Like I mean, I don't really crunch per se in TA. We just I mean, there's times of the year where we're busy and I may work 10, 12 hours. But I also have the ability to do that, like stop if I need to go do other things, right? And just pick up where I left off.
Yeah.
The group that we support, there's crunch. I mean, the 60, 70-hour work weeks, that happens. Like that's, January through, late April, early May. People, I mean, that's what that is. I mean, it's seasonal with us. But, like I mentioned, the firm I work for, we're closed. We get 2 weeks off. That doesn't kind of get your PTO. It's a summer break. And firms shut down. They tell everyone close your laptops, turn your cell phone off. So they do those things, and so I think like people don't mind crunching for those 3 or 4 months because they understand that's part of the cycle. But the company also does other things to kind of recognize the fact that those people are doing crunch work those 3 or 4 months. But I guess in software development, I guess my question to you, Dilly, is this something that's not like is it just throughout the year where you're doing this, or is it cyclical? And is it just depend on the studio you're working for, or I mean, like how does that work in the game industry or the software development side of things?
Right now, I mean, it's dependent on quarterly reviews and stuff like that. The pace we're moving right now is astronomical. We just had I'm trying to word this so that I don't get a knock on my door. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's just be careful, man.
From some Microsoft hitmen, they're like, and I'm like, sorry, BRAP, I gotta go, get the door. Next thing you know, I'm never back ever again.
Yeah, it's Matt Booty showing up and saying,
yeah. So, we're moving at an astronomical rate right now, and there's just some breakthroughs that have been happening these last couple of months, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. And mind you, I'm very proud of my work, and I'm I love it. But I do like anything, there needs to be moderation. But it's like a quarterly cycle, quarterly reviews right now. I was just up in New York like 3 weeks ago. I had to travel for work as well too because there was like a big corporate meeting. So yeah, we're just moving at a pace that's just unheard of right now, and corporates and just in general just really really like that. And I think we're just gonna keep that in our ballpark for the next, I don't know, probably the next couple weeks.
So Matt Booty's full of shit. I'm just joking.
Just for the next couple of weeks right now, because we are we're close to how do I say this? We're close to making we're close to finishing the cycle on the product that we're doing, and we're close to having it prototyped and shippable and demonstratable. And then also at the same time, like I have my design documents in, and in a couple months, I am hoping that my design documents and everything are going to be end up being implemented company wide. So you may see some of the stuff that I work on, or some of the stuff that I've pioneered, or some of the stuff that I've designed crop up in the gaming field or crop up elsewhere. Who knows? There's some exciting horizons in the future.
You're skating around those NDAs, sir.
So if Microsoft wants to announce anything in the oncoming future, then my name may be attached to some of that stuff.
Okay,
so it's exciting. It's a good time, but I'm exhausted.
Maybe they can put you at the head of 343i. We'll talk about 343i later, but
maybe who knows? I might actually be a good fit for that.
Maybe you could help the franchise of Halo Infinite, but yeah. But no, so Matt Booty, at Xbox Game Studios, he's the boss of Xbox Game Studios, says there's no more crunching at Bethesda. Actually, I know that's not entirely true, by the way, because I know some people that work at Bethesda. There's still crunch. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. So he is discussing something that happened a long time ago, as relates to development of Fallout 76.
Yeah.
That it was, there was some development issues. There was heavy reliance on crunch. You know, that basically, like, they were told, like, hey, if no one volunteered to come in over a weekend, like, the entire dev team would be called in. Basically, is the ultimatum that Bethesda basically gave, right? And so, now Matt Booty's coming out saying he's confident the situation has changed. That Bethesda parent company ZeniMax Media are no longer crunching as part of the regular process. I understand that's not entirely true. There's still crunch involved. I don't know the extent of the crunch, but there's still crunch. And I wonder, again, I'm not a software developer. You mentioned the methodologies, waterfall and agile. I can never pronounce agile, but for some reason, is that part of the process, the problem too, where one is kind of, sprints and the other one is just like this massive, like, I guess, like, dump, if you will. Do you think that's kind of the issue too that's contributing to crunch?
Well, I think that there's several things that contribute to crunch. I mean, like late code check-ins. I mean, we're talking about poor management. We're talking about running employees at 100% work when it could be easily divided between the two, right? Like having instead of having me at 100%, so I can you guys or they can implement me and you, BRAP, right next to each other, and we can both be working at 85%, and we still get the same amount of workloads done. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I really think of it's like two or three things. Again, it's I think it's poor management. I think it's late code check-ins, and I think that it's an issue with scope and rescoping. And if you guys aren't familiar with those terms, scoping and rescoping, scoping is the idea of, like, in-game development, is that we kind of define the boundaries of what we're doing, and we define, like, how much content and how much stuff basically is going in our product. So for a game like let's say GTA 5, right? GTA 5, they scope the game and they say, we should have 3 cities. 3 cities is the max, X and Y, right? And then when you have to rescope, like in Starfield's case, where you have too much content, rescoping is something along the lines of, like, okay, maybe we need to scale things down. And rescoping in the midst of a project is detrimental, because you have it basically. I hate using analogies, but I'm just going to use this one here. It's like you're driving a car, right? And you're about to be out of gas, and you have to decide whether or not you drive backwards to the nearest town to get gas.
By the way, Dylan, I paid $120 to fill up my tank this week, but go ahead.
I paid $110. Yeah, I'm losing my mind. It's like, man, should you go forward and hope that there is a next gas station nearby in a town that you don't know, or do you go backwards and say, like, do I take one for the team and go back to a familiar territory, and then readjust the route from there, fill up, readjust the route from there, and keep going and try to make up on lost time. So that's essentially how rescoping would be in the midst of a project, right? And it's fine to rescope, because, like, that's normal in game development, but you rescope at, like, certain points in time, right? You rescope at in areas where it's like, okay, I have the prototype finished, or you
had to rescope Craig.
Yeah, you have bugs, or you have areas of the game where you're like, this could be better or this could be worse. So we should rescope and maybe cut down on the open world, or we should rescope and cut down on the outposts, or stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. Deli, I want to introduce let me tell you something. This guy, he is a talent in first-person shooters. He's a natural-born Souls player. He is the voice of reason on DPS podcast. Mr. Slimmo Backslap.
What's up? What's up, man? What's going on?
I had to give you proper intro, man.
Appreciate that, man. How's it going, guys? What's up, Deli? Good to see you again.
Hey, what's up, Mo?
We were talking about the traffic in the DMV. I don't know if you heard that, but
oh my God, I'm so glad that I work from home and I barely have to jump out there on the Beltway anymore. Like I had to take my mother, who's elderly, to a doctor's appointment like 2 weeks ago, and it was out in Arlington. And oh my, like I mean, I was getting frustrated with and like all those feelings of just like this anxiety of driving in rush hour traffic going over like the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. I was just like, yo, I just can't. How did I do this like every day for like 8 years is beyond me. But so glad I work from home now. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, Slomo? I was coming back from Williamsburg, like back in, I think this was like late March, and I'll never forget, I was on 66, and I hop in the HOV, and it's like, I'm doing like speed limit 7. I always do speed limit, because first of all, I don't fuck with Virginia State Troopers. Like, those guys, no. I don't fuck with them.
Virginia is thirsty to
yes.
pull people over. I don't
the
understand.
state troopers? They love
like
it.
It's like the only state in the world that, it's the only state in the nation that is like, we'll pull somebody over for a 6 over. It's asinine.
Yeah, it's like they're bored or something. I need to talk to somebody. Let me just pull this person over. He was just going 7 miles over.
Yeah, no, they totally will. And so I was going 70. People are flying past me. And I'm like, should I go faster? I'm like, nah, this is the Commonwealth. And I got Maryland tags. So it's like, they definitely want to pull me over, charge
That's
me.
petty as Baltimore police, though. Baltimore, so I'm on 695. I'm in college, but this is wild. Freaking state trooper, it was a state trooper, so a state trooper flies past me on 695.
I hate their hats, by the way. Super obnoxious hats, but go ahead.
Exactly. Like, you supposed to be a Mountie or something? Get out of here. Right.
Hey, what do you look? You look like, what's it called from Mortal Kombat, Raiden. So go ahead.
So I'm like, well, he's going like 90. I'm just gonna go behind him and get out of some of this traffic. So I fall behind him. I go up to like 75, 80. This guy goes into the right lane, jams on his brakes just so he could get behind me, puts on his sirens and pulls me over. And I'm just like, really, guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know how fast you were going? I'm like, do you know how fast you were going?
Whoop,
and he
whoop.
Which, I'm young and dumb. Don't be a black guy talking to police like that. He's like, get out the car. So,
sir,
you know how that went.
Step out of the car. Do you have any weapons in the car, sir?
Yeah. You have any drugs on you? Like, what drugs? It's just like, how did we get here?
I remember I was working in DC. I got pulled over, and I was at the time my job. I had to wear a suit and tie to work every day, right? I got pulled over, and they literally asked me that question. I'm like, do I look like I have fucking drugs in the car? Like what? Like,
Hey, don't say that, man. They'll sprinkle some crack on you. It'll be a wrap.
Like I had a dress shirt with French cufflinks, right? I had cufflinks in my tie.
Okay.
My suit. I mean, I was, professionally. Sir, do you really? Tell you what, if I was a gringo, they wouldn't have asked me that question. But we got I also want to introduce someone else who is not the voice of reason on DPS podcast, which goes live tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But this man can't sing, and he's got a beautiful smile. Get me Forte.
What up, though? How you guys doing?
Yeah, I called you, man.
Oh, you did? I was playing, but not. We were doing game night with the family.
Deli was like, "Where's Forte?" And Slomo. I'm like, "Let me call Forte because I don't have Slomo's phone number." So I called you up. So let me hit a Forte real quick.
Send him straight to voicemail.
You know what? I can't even get a hold of Slomo. When I call Slomo, he don't even answer the phone.
Oh my God.
He answers when I call.
I know he does. Okay. He didn't answer when I called. I called him to play Outriders yesterday. Say we don't ever play games.
You called me to play a game.
I called you. I literally called you yesterday. When I called you, I bet you saw that call too, didn't you? You saw that call.
Look, anyone who calls you and says, "Oh, well, I miss you." Oh, I was calling you to do this. I was calling you to give you $1,000. I actually jumped on Outriders. Generous at that time, but I gave that $1,000 to someone else. You missed.
No, I was on there for 3 hours, and then and the thing that hurt my feelings even more is the fact that you saw my call, and then because you started tweeting from your phone like 20 minutes later. I was like,
what?
oh, he up here tweeting. He saw my missed call, but guess what? He called Luca back. He didn't call me back though. And I wanted to play Outriders because I know he was looking forward to the Outriders. I found out that they were releasing it early access for people that pre-ordered it. So I jumped in there, and guess what I ended up doing, Brad? Guess what I ended up doing?
What did you do, man?
I ended up playing Outriders by myself per usual. Because Slow-Mo was too busy playing Outriders on his PC by himself. But you know, I tried calling them, but
you did not call me while I was playing Outriders.
No, I didn't call you while you was playing it. I called you before you started.
Didn't.
No, I called you early in the day.
One, I missed this call. I didn't see that he called. That's one. Because I was asleep.
And then he never called me back.
I didn't realize you had called me until it was super late, and I was like, I'm not gonna call you in like you know, in the middle of the night, you know.
So what you're saying?
You getting phone calls at like 1 a.m. Your wife's looking at you like, who was that?
No. That's cap. That's cap right there. Because what you're telling me is, I saw you playing Outriders at like 8:30. 9 o'clock.
Because look,
so you trying to tell me? So you went on your phone and started tweeting people and trying to bash people in the comment section of the tweets and stuff, but you ain't want to return my phone call. So you didn't see my phone call until after you got to do all your message stuff.
Look. I have an Android phone. It does not have if I pull up down my notifications, that's when it shows that I had a missed call.
So you're not like normal people to check and see, oh, let me see if anybody called me while I was like not looking at my phone for 3 hours.
No. Check for that.
Okay, so when I say the same thing in the future, you know, you be like, Forte, you always talk about you want to play games, but I don't miss your phone call.
No, Forte will miss a phone call, a text message, a DM in Twitter, a DM in Discord, like an actual letter delivered to him, you know, express mail, notarized. He had to sign for it, all that stuff. A summons, the court. He misses everything.
Yeah, but at least I tell you I missed it because guess what? I don't look at my phone and look. You know that's like a number one thing that I do. You on the other hand,
sorry,
I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this. I was
sorry, I missed it.
You know, I was trying to like, you know, be a better Forte. I was trying to be a better individual.
Where's the violin? Where's the violin?
Oh,
all right, gentlemen. All right, gentlemen. Real quick. I do want to.
Well, you know,
wait, hold on, Forte.
How are you?
I'm great. I want to get the great Ashen Luca just get with the $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Luca, by the way. Really appreciate it. She says, where was my call to play Outriders, Nautical? That is Forte, by the way. It's almost done downloading. Yeah, why didn't you call Luca? You didn't call Luca?
It's almost done download. I didn't play Outriders today. I played it yesterday. So
Luca, how is it still downloaded? You were downloading it last night.
Because she was playing games while she was down. Oh, speaking of which, Luca, what was you doing playing Far Cry 3 yesterday? Far Cry 3
on PC with mods.
Oh, was she?
I had a feeling she was playing. I was like, I was at a party with Jill. I was like, why is she playing Far Cry 3?
Gamer. Luca's not a PC gamer.
Is she fully transitioned over to PC now?
As she should be.
We have played.
Has she officially transitioned, Slow-Mo?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. We have played Remnant from the Ashes. We beat that together on PC. We almost at the end of Borderlands 2 on PC, playing through that. Now she's playing Far Cry 3 on her own. She's converted. Forget that Xbox. I don't know the last time she turned on her Xbox Series X or her. And we know how she used her PS5. Her PS5 is just like a Roku for her. She just watches like, you know, Netflix off of it and stuff. So,
true.
Well, not really. We're probably about a good 2/3 of the way through. Look, we're not almost at the about 2/3 of the way through. But you know, of course, it's a looter shooter and the best looter shooter that ever existed. That's Borderlands 2. So like, you just continue to keep playing it and you know, go up to, you know, True Vault Hunter mode and Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. Do all the DLCs. We got a lot of stuff to do. But you know, we close to the end of the campaign now.
Yeah, I've been having so much fun playing Shadow Warrior 3. It's been a joy.
That's what you were playing on Discord when I call you.
Yeah, I've been. Shout out to Dealer Gaming. He was like, I got to get you off of Destiny, so he gifted me a copy of the game, and you know, he was like, now you know this means you got to play it because I bought this for you. I was like, fuck. So I started playing it. It's really, really fun, bro.
Is that new?
It came out last year on PlayStation. But it released on Xbox finally, and you got the Xbox enhancements with the the Gen 9 awareness and everything. So it's really, really cool. It's really, really fun. It's really, really fast paced. It's pretty much like a poor man's Doom. If you really like Doom, Doom Eternal, you will definitely like this game. And it's really cool. I literally been doing nothing but playing this game for the last 2 days. I'm almost done with it. So it's really, really cool. I really like it a lot.
Cool. All right. Hey, so let's get back to video games here. All right. So we're talking about crunch. Any other thoughts on what's that?
Bethesda, didn't they say crunch wasn't a thing?
Well, Matt Booty's saying crunch isn't like at the levels it was at Bethesda. I mean, crunch is still happening there. I mean, that's definitely happening,
crunch,
but
it happens everywhere.
Yeah, but it's you know, I mean,
it doesn't happen at Insomniac apparently.
Yeah, well, it's apparently Insomniac does a crunch and
they make 80 rated games. They just kick them out, you know, like every other year.
They also have enough people. They also hire enough people.
So Deli, is that a problem then? Like
hiring enough people to actually get the job done. Imagine that.
That's a novel concept, right? But
I can't believe like how dare they be so radical and so unique and different.
He said so radical. Imagine actually filling the requisitions we have open.
Right. Like I wonder what 343's problem is. Oops. Oh yeah, the guys that we need to fix the desync on Melee, yeah, they're working on something else. Hire some more people, stupid. Like I mean, I don't understand, but I'm clearly not a developer, right? But I have worked in management before. I have a bodies issue. I don't have enough bodies to get the work done. Sounds like I need to hire more people. Oh, who owns my company?
Well,
one of the richest companies in the world.
Didn't 343?
Why don't we just hire more people?
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I see people in the chat dismissing Deli's thoughts on crunch, and that's a little. Come on, people! Like, really? Why are we doing that? I don't know if you've seen any of that, Deli.
Wait, I haven't seen it yet. But are people going? Hey, I'm a construction worker, and I work X amount of hours a day. Therefore, what Deli's experiences mean nothing to me. Is that what people are doing? They're trying to take
Deli, you want to chime into some of the stuff, Jelly?
Yeah, come on.
I mean, look, man. You know what? It's not that deep. You know, if y'all feel like it's just a little OT and y'all be crunching, like that's fine. That's okay. I'm who am I to tell you guys?
It's just overtime, Deli. Yeah, that kind of shit. That's what we're saying.
Who am I to tell you guys now?
Get paid overtime. So
when I'm salary and I work past
thank you.
Let's see, I 996 and I'm choosing to work 6 to 6.
Are you wait, Deli, are you even bonusing out? Like, are they giving you bonuses? Performance bonuses?
I don't have bonuses.
What?
I don't get bonuses.
Bruh, we got to talk, Deli.
I don't get bonuses. I don't get any of that stuff.
That's fucking crazy.
That's not a industry-wide thing for developers. I've heard some developers will get a bonus depending on how well the game does when it launches, but you have to still be on staff when the game launches. So you can't quit like beforehand and think you're going to get a bonus for the work that you put in. Some people don't even get put in the credits if they quit or leave the company before the game is done, and they've done extensive work in the game.
That is
which
true.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
so here's okay. I'm sorry, Deli. So here's what people do, and so Jeff B. Gaming is saying business CEOs do the same thing. They work 80 to 100 hours a week, right?
No, they.
I got to be.
Okay.
Vince McMahon of the WWE works that much, right? But he's also a fucking billionaire.
That's true. He is.
So I mean, like it's not apples to apples. Like if you were, it's also there's also something to be said for, like Deli said, I don't get paid overtime. I don't get bonuses. So when you look at the amount of time that you put into a job versus your salary, and you break that down hourly, then you're really gonna get an idea of what you're being paid, right? Like you get an idea. Okay, am I being paid sufficiently for the hours and time that I'm putting into a specific job, right? CEOs that are working 80 to 100 hours a week, depending on the size of the companies, and I'm assuming the ones that work 80 to 100 hours a week are getting paid fucking tons of money. a shit ton of money. You know, again, I use Vince McMahon's probably a very extreme example, but Vince McMahon literally works like 80-hour weeks. Like the guy fucking doesn't sleep, and he's a billionaire. He's a fucking billionaire.
He also doesn't give his employees medical insurance benefits at all. He calls them independent contractors who also can't work anywhere else. He does a lot of things in that 80 to 100 hours that I wouldn't exactly call, very ethical. So whatever, right? He's also probably still on steroids at 85 years old. So.
But I guess what bothers me a little bit is when people are dismissive of somebody who's describing a situation like Deli's describing the crunch that he's doing, and people are like, well, other people do. Okay, well, that's other people. Just because someone is talking about how crunch has impacted their lives, I don't think it's right for others to be dismissive of that. Like I just don't agree with that. Skywalkers are saying you can quit your civilian job if you can afford to, if you don't like the hours.
Or you could work harder towards making sure that the industry is better. And supporting stuff like Raven Software, their QA department unionizing instead of saying just stop complaining, go do something else then. I don't even understand the mentality, especially when you don't work in the industry. You don't know what they go through. You don't know what their work environment's like. You've never had to sit at a desk and code for 10 plus hours, 6 days straight. You never had to do any of that stuff, but then you want to relate it to what you do or what someone else does. That's a completely different industry.
Yeah, and again,
different thing. Well, firefighters work X amount of hours. Look, I know a firefighter. I grew up with a guy who's a firefighter. His family is just fine with him working out. He's a lieutenant at his department. And he gets to lay down and rest and sleep and all kinds of stuff. He's still on the clock. So just stop trying to compare other industries that are not this industry to this and saying, oh, well, your crunch is nothing or it's not that serious, because over here doing something completely different, they work the same amount of hours. It's a terrible comparison. And I actually expect for some of you in the chat a little bit more intelligence. When you throw out these kind of comparisons that don't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean that's a point. Like I don't understand why we can't be empathetic towards or show empathy towards what other people are going, and why we have to be dismissive and basically say, well, you know what? Why are you complaining? I mean, CEOs work 80 to 100 hours. So what the fuck's the big? I mean, no, that's not the point. I just don't understand that all or nothing mentality. It just doesn't fucking make sense to me. Look, Skywalker, look, man, I appreciate your, obviously you serve this country. Appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know what it's like to have rockets and mortars dropping down on your position, but
it's also completely irrelevant to what we're talking about.
But that also doesn't mean that what Deli's experience isn't relative either. I just don't understand this. It's like this.
It's like, by that logic, if you've never had bullets shot at you, you can't complain about your job at all.
Yeah, it's just I don't understand that.
That's dumb. It's just dumb. I'm sorry, Skywalker. I appreciate the sacrifice you made for this country, but that doesn't mean you get to say dumb comments and us not call it out. That's dumb. It's dumb.
I don't get. Again,
I know Deli doesn't want to talk like that, but I'm not. I don't give a damn about none of y'all, so I'll say it. It's dumb. You're being dumb.
Someone came in here spicy.
Yeah, I prefer to be diplomatic as possible. So
no, I appreciate that, Deli.
If anybody feels like it's just a little overtime, that's fine. I mean, yeah, everybody always says Deli, you can just quit and you can do other things, but it's like when you're, what's it called? When your benefits are tied to your job and 401k and Roth IRA and stock plans, it's very hard to just drop those to I don't know, sit in a well for a couple months and hope for the best elsewhere. And of course, I have like a 3-year-old child as well too. So that's also a like that also influences a lot of things that keep me at my job and keep me doing what I do. So, but at the end of the day, I was talking to a coworker the other day, and and I had asked him, I was like, so I mean, how many hours did you do this week? And he said 75, and he said that he does 11-11, and he says like anytime he works past like 7 o'clock, he's like he's basically working for free. And at the end of the week, if you tally up the numbers, and he just gave me a ballpark number, he's like, I'm making like $12 an hour for the amounts of work that I'm doing. And I was like, yeah, no, that if you put it in perspective like that, that's kind of whack. But yeah, like, working at a McDonald's, I'm not working 100 hours a week at a McDonald's, So I mean, I guess it's all relative at the end of the day. But I mean, if you guys, like, if you guys don't think crunch is that big of a deal, that's perfectly fine. It's acceptable. Like, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to speak about my own personal experiences and how it affects me as a person. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Dilly. I do want to grab another super chat from the Ashton Luca with another $5 super chat. Thank you, Luca. Says, I have the utmost respect for blue-collar jobs, but the lack of empathy for others' struggle and the glee that is displayed when dismissing it is weird. So thank you for that, Luca. I agree with that 110%. And then we have Magnum Visuals with the $5 super chat. Says, as an artist, I feel that if there is no crunch or overtime, you end up with a Frankenstein project where it is made up from a bit of different talents. Thank you for that super chat, Magnum Visuals. All right, so let's move on from crunch. And
if anyone was offended with my my tone, I'm not sorry.
Man, Slow-mo, what did you 14? What did you do to him, man?
I don't know. That's not the slow-mo.
I'm just not sorry. I was about to say it, sorry, but I'm not. So I'm like,
right.
Well, why would I say something I don't feel? So I'm just not sorry. I just feel like if you don't show empathy to other people, why should I show empathy to you? So yeah.
No, I hear that, man, and yeah, I hear that. In other news, R. Kelly got 30 years. Any thoughts on that?
It only took 20 years.
Yeah, it took forever for him to get him.
I know, right? I think he should have had more, but
I had people asking me, why did he go? Why is he getting 30 years? I said, because he peed on somebody.
Oh yeah, we did more than that.
More than that.
He did a little more than that.
A whole lot more than that.
He did a lot more than that.
That
was it was more than that, but just to keep it very simple.
that fucker, he's a piece of shit. I mean, like what he did is fucking atrocious.
The 30 years isn't the only thing because he's got to be tried or sentenced in like 3 other states. So
it ain't over.
It ain't over. He's
still facing charges in other states.
Yes. So
it'll be like 2025 before we wrap this up.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
he's never being free, which good riddance. He doesn't deserve to be free. But yeah, he's definitely not done. I'm thinking they'll probably end up somewhere around the range of like 60 years, which clearly he's not going to live to when he's 55 years old. So
yeah, I don't know, man. Just
I don't know if you guys talked about this yet or not. About Activision Blizzard acquiring that developer.
The Spellbreak guys.
Yes, they acquired
the
Spellbreak studio. Spellbreak is like this magic focused battle royale game. It was, I think, a pretty decent idea, very unique. I didn't think it didn't appeal to me. I didn't like it. I don't think it really caught on, but apparently that game is going to get shut down, and those devs, after being acquired by Activision Blizzard, will be rolled into the team working on WoW. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Interesting stuff,
Yeah. What do you guys think about GTA 6? There were some rumors out this, I think, a couple days ago, maybe 2 days ago. Let's see here. I just want to make sure it was 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. Game Rant published an article Grand Theft Auto, the leak setting is that it could take place in Vice City, which Vice City is basically a parody of Miami. If you guys play Vice City when it came out like 20-something years ago. Was it 20 years ago when that game came out?
20 years ago, my man. I was 5.
Well, Deli, I was 25, so yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so I'm slightly older than you, Deli. But yeah, I guess it was what, 20 years. I don't remember if it was fucking 20 years ago. I feel like it was 20 years ago. That may have been GTA 3, but no, Vice City was actually Vice City was actually the follow-up to GTA 3. Vice City, actually, the protagonist in Vice City, because if you play GTA 3, the protagonist did not have a voice, a character. The character just didn't talk. He just was like, just have like facial reactions. But Ray Liotta actually voiced the protagonist of in Vice City. I forget the name of the protagonist. So rumors, Vice City, and there are some people also think there could be a return to Liberty City, which Liberty City is the original city in GTA 3, if I'm not mistaken. But Tom Henderson recently weighed in on Grand Theft Auto 6. He says that that the location, that it could be in Vice City and or Liberty City, but he also heard that that the game is actually could be in some development, could be having some development issues, but he believes the game is still releasing in 2024, 2025. So I don't know. I was anyone excited for GTA 6?
I mean, not really. I really enjoyed GTA 5 a lot, and GTA Online, I spent a lot of time on that for probably in the transition between the 360 PS3 era to PS4 Xbox era, but I got really burnt out on it. And I mean, I'll play it for certain, right? But I'm just not like hyped for it. But definitely play it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably check it out to see what kind of industry pushing technologies that they have, or for mocap, for immersion, and other things. To be honest with you, I have GTA 5 on my PlayStation 4, and I think I put like 12 hours into that game.
Yeah, I haven't played GTA 5 in a minute. It's been a long time. Probably since the game released. It's probably the last time I played it. But
yeah, I think I did. I tried to do a raid with one of my friends online, and we didn't get very far. So I think that was the last time I played.
I mean, they are pretty much. I mean, what was it like GTA 5 like topping NPD for like top 5 or something, top 10 NPD for like 4 or 5 years, 7 years in a row or something? Like, wasn't it like? I'm probably exaggerating, but I feel like it was like in like the top 10 for a long time, right?
Yeah, GTA 5's sales are very, very impressive.
God, yeah, they are printing money with that game. That's why I'm surprised they're doing like GTA 6, but I don't know. That game's going to sell like 50 million copies like when it releases anyway. It's going to fucking go gangbusters. So. All right. Go ahead. So we're going to say something, Slow-Mo?
Game Logic. Yo,
what's up, Game Logic?
Hey.
Did you just jump in? Have you been sitting there? I haven't been paying attention really.
No, I just jumped in.
All right, cool. So, Game Logic, are you hyped for GTA 6?
No.
All right, he's not hyped for GTA 6. Are you hyped for Halo Infinite desync to be fixed?
When is that going to happen?
I don't know. But no, there was that article that came out, Game Logic, where I forget, I think it was Video Game Chronicles. Oh, I got to pull up the article again. I think we discussed this in DM. I think Game Logic. What was it? Let me see if I can pull up this article again.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, so the article came out saying that a developer had posted in Reddit that that the developers who would be normally be assigned to fix desync were off working on other bugs. That is not what the headline said. The headline said had been diverted to other things or other tasks. So I don't necessarily agree with the headline. I feel like the headline was a little disingenuous and probably was designed to do what it was supposed to do, be clickbait for people to click through and for people to take hyperbolic extrapolations on Twitter. The way I read the article and what the developer had posted, and I'd be curious to hear what Deli thought about it. It sounded to me like yes, they had been diverted to work on other bugs. It sounded like many of those bugs had adjacencies to the desync issue, and so one of the things I'd mentioned to you is that often the results of triaging a defect is that if I've got a thing that's an unknown and I have a bunch of things that are knowns, I may make the selection to put my developers on the things that have known fixes rather than put them on a thing that might be a big nasty hairball that we don't know what the fix to that is, particularly when it's inconclusive how frequent and how impactful that defect is. And so desync is a thing, as far as I understand it, and Slow-Mo probably has a better read on it than I do. Desync, I should back up. It specifically talked about melee desync, which I think is distinctive from other forms of desync.
Right, because there is other forms of desync going on too, which is just like wild that they only are acknowledging really the melee one, which is probably the most egregious, honestly. Like if you're like really right up on the guy and you melee him and there is zero like actual impact done, no damage taken, he didn't even acknowledge that you hit him and he's slapping you around, you're just like, what is happening here? Shout out to Luca in the chat, because Luca immediately went from like playing Halo Infinite, installed the Master Chief Collection, and meleeed someone that was like, oh wow, that was immediate. Like there was no delay, there was no it didn't happen, it actually works. So it's just yeah pretty bad, man.
And that's what I don't have a good feel for, because admittedly I don't know that I know all the symptoms that are the telltale signs of desync. So the only thing that I can say is my sense of it from what I have either seen or observed myself and what I've read is that it doesn't necessarily happen all the time. It's not necessarily deterministically repeatable, which means I can't necessarily set up an experiment that replicates a scientific method and input a set of variables or toggle a set of variables or set a set of variables within a given test environment and in a guaranteed manner have that bug repeat itself. And so that type of thing obviously makes a software thing a difficult thing to fix. And so I guess my total takeaway from the posting and the reason I didn't like the headline is and this is a cautionary thing that I've been mentioning recently too, is it just said a developer. I don't know if that developer is a design lead or a scrum master or is just a programmer or a coder 2 years out of college, right? I don't know at what level of the organization he or she exists. And obviously you would have to sit somewhere pretty high to have a holistic view of everything that's going on, in particular to understand why staffing decisions were made. And so the fact that they described a staffing decision that had been made but didn't describe the reasons why leads me to believe that that person is inside that circle that would know that stuff. So to me, it was a non-conclusive article. It was an oh, by the way, my particular software perspective on it is that didn't necessarily tell me anything that, was some huge radical indictment of the whole organization. It was just a thing. But other people obviously took it differently.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Game Logic. I mean, the desync issue, it's still like, it's funny. Like I saw people like, oh my God, this is crazy, on Twitter. Like, and I could tell the people that don't play Halo Infinite multiplayer. I mean, it's an issue. Is it like an issue that affects every engagement that I have in Halo Infinite multiplayer? No, but it does happen. But I did see some people out there that were saying, oh, this is make it kind of seem like this happens all the time. It doesn't happen all the time in the game. I'm not saying that makes it okay. It's an issue they definitely need to address, because there are times where you're engaged with someone in a firefight or some kind of melee combat, and it feels like you're meleeing them, but it's not registering. It's like, what the hell? And same thing with shots. That's happened. I think there's actually one night in particular, I think you were on with us, Slomo, if I'm not mistaken, where I think there was some major desync consistently, I think, for a couple matches.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying, I was just agreeing with you. That's all.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, go ahead, Roger.
The thing I mentioned to you, and to me, the thing that makes it difficult for me at least, again, not having been a lifelong Halo player, for me to feel certain that I know that I'm seeing desync, and the thing that concerns me more is the people using aimbots and wall hacks. And so, right, the thing you and I talked about, right, over DM was I'm much more concerned about that and them putting, right, manpower, staffers, whatever, on that problem than I am about desync, right? Desync to me, not to forgive it, but just to talk about stratifying where it kind of ranks in my head of like most severe problem. Desync to me is a thing that happens because of something in the system, and I would expect that it is relatively equitable, right? Who it happens to and how frequently and who benefits from it, right? But cheating is a thing that is malicious that other people do to you. It is not equitable across the board, and I'm much more concerned that those people that be fixed or those people be eliminated from the game, more so than I am concerned about desync.
Yeah,
I got a question for both you, Logic, and Deli, in regards to the whole desync issue, because it's something similar that I've seen with the Division 1. In the Dark Zone, where people were doing what we used to call, quote unquote, the chicken dance, which was like they would on mouse and keyboard. On keyboard, they would input a certain like combination of like directions on WSD, ASD, where you would kind of like move around, and it would like the game engine, the Snowdrop engine 1.0 at that time, was not capable, from what like Massive Entertainment explained, wasn't capable of keeping up with what position and what direction the player was supposed to be facing on the server side. And so when players would do that, they would like 50% of the shots that were actually spot on would miss. And so everyone was doing it, because it was like if you weren't doing it, you were getting killed in the Dark Zone, essentially, on PC. And so do you guys, I bring that example up to kind of like bring this to Halo Infinite in 343, which is a very different kind of game. There ain't nobody chicken dancing going on, right? But what do you guys think? Is it a server issue that they're dealing with? Is it an engine issue that's going on? Like, what do you guys think the actual issue is?
Well, I think it's a combination of both server and engine issue. I think it's largely more of an engine issue. The reason why I say it's more largely an engine issue is because we see that in LAN matches, even on even on a connection type that is similar or a network that is grounded, desync issues are still happening, and that shouldn't be happening on LAN in the first place. Both melee and shooter. But I think that at the end of the day, I think that with the engine issue, and then also with the way Halo works, is that Halo is prefers to favor the shooter, so it is not victim side on the server. So when you see yourself getting shot, or when you see yourself receiving damage and then you return damage, you returning the damage is not going to register on the server side as fast as the person doing the initial damage. And that's just something that again, in Halo Infinite, they favor the shooter. So while you are on the victim side, you could be, I don't know, a millisecond behind on damage calculations, and the server will choose to favor the shooter over you, depending on latency and depending on speed and other things. And then as for melee attacks, I mean, I don't know, it could be a bunch of different things for there, but I think that's it's more of an engine issue. I think the engine's having a hard time spitting out these numbers in the correct strings in the correct ways that the servers can decode at a speed at which they can, what's it called? They can process that information and relay that properly to both sides, both the shooter side and the victim side of the server. But yeah, so but I think it's majority, like it's probably like 70-30 or 60-40 game engine versus server side. So I think it's 40% server and I think it's 60% game engine.
Cool.
Interesting.
Logic, did you have anything to say about that too?
No, I mean, given what Deli said, I would have speculated and extrapolated off of what he said, all of which would have just had the end result of kind of where he lands. I mean,
do you agree?
Yeah. Yep.
Logic, all you had to say was I agree, man.
I actually, what I actually said was I defer to Deli. He knows more about that specific side of the code than I do. I will say what's interesting is and again, maybe Deli can refine this. So the closest thing to this problem that exists in the world I work in would be a memory leak. And the problem with a memory leak is a memory leak can, if you let it pervade deep into the development cycle, if you don't catch it very early as the code is being assembled, it becomes a very deeply entwined, I talk of it as it becomes part of the code's DNA. And rooting that out becomes sometimes well nigh impossible.
Infinitely more impossible or infinitely harder as updates string in.
Yeah, and so it's similar to kind of what Deli's mentioning in the desync is because the more and more code that gets developed, it gradually walks and gets worse and worse. And so it'll be curious if that's what's going on with desync. The end result of that, that in terms of how I've had to address that in the past, I've had some projects where my team didn't write the original code. We walked on and the code had been developed. It had been under development for years. But the end result was I just had to have them do a complete rewrite, right? Because there was just no way to root that memory leak out. And where we did find it as a root cause and address it, it never 100% solved the problem. So, and I think Deli and others have mentioned that there are indications that there are endemic problems in the roots and the struts of the engine Halo Infinite is built on.
Now, in light of what you both have said, to go back to my example about the Division, the developer Massive Entertainment could not fix that issue in the Dark Zone in PvP. They had to wait until they dropped the Division 2 on Snowdrop Engine 2.0 before that issue was fixed. And so I wonder, hopefully not, that this won't be the case with 343 and Halo Infinite, that this is something that will be an issue that they can't actually fix for, say, a few years. Because honestly, with the way this game is going, with all of its issues, if that's something that can't get fixed much sooner than that, then I just can't see this game really having the kind of legs that Microsoft expects it to have.
I mean, my honest opinion, I don't think desync will ever go entirely away. I think it is that kind of problem. I think they will work at it and they will try and root it out as best they can. But at the end of the day, quite honestly, I think what they're going to wind up doing is, at least let's say at the outset, is wind up erecting a bunch of workarounds.
Yeah, they could probably do an engine rebuild down the road with a separate team, or they can do an engine rework again, maybe have certain affinity work on that kind of stuff and kind of weed out these kind of bugs in the code. But as for the melee for Halo, I mean, melee is finicky for Halo because it works on a geographical location basis. Along with latency. So if game logic is let's say 10 meters in front of me, right? And I run, I don't know, if I run 10 meters and I go to attack him and he moves when I go to attack him and he moves, I don't know, or he jumps in the air and he jumps 2 meters in the air, so I miss him. If the server, again, shooter and victim side, if the server hasn't registered if the server hasn't registered victim side yet and my attack goes off before his jump, the issue is that Melee is geographical location based. So if his last reported geographical location is, I don't know, coordinates 00, and then Z coordinate is 100, then it could possibly override that. So I could actually, on the shooter side, I could do damage. The damage could register, and then on the server side, it won't register because the geographical location and the system that they have implemented for Melee is running parallel with different inputs or different statistics, and that could cause a mess as well too. And that's what I surmise, that it's mostly an engine issue when it comes to this thing. So that's why I say it's 60-40, because it's both of them in conjunction, and it's not just like Mo has 800 ping and I have 10 ping, and like I'm gonna get off shots, or there's server rollback and Mo just is ghosting through corners. Like yeah, you could say that as well too, but with the way Halo works, to compute numerical values on the engine side, I think that there needs to be an overhaul for the system, for damage calculations for systems, for both projectile, what's it called? Projectile, what's the other shooting? My mind just blanked right there.
Energy for taking down shields.
The energy, yeah, but the energy is a you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like it's a hit scan, projectile, hit scan, and then of course they have Melee are three different systems at play that feed three different numerical values into the engine. So yeah.
So what's interesting is, as far as we know, the only damage I can think of. Well, hey, do we know desync is affecting hit scan? The one that I was saying, it seems like we know it doesn't affect is AOE.
Yeah, I think it doesn't affect AOE, but I think it affects hit scan if there are inputs put in both at the same exact time.
Okay.
Because there are issues with the BR, as well as like energy weapons as well too. So it does affect both hit scan and energy weapons on that front. And I play Halo multiplayer quite often, but I only play ranked, so mine is a little bit more severe.
So wait, Deli, you're on Halo Infinite multiplayer right now?
Not right now, but
well, not right now, but I'm saying, but you're currently playing it, like not right now at this moment, but you do play the game quite a bit.
I mean, I played it recently. I'm a Diamond 5 on ranked.
Dude, we're looking for a third. We don't play ranked though.
I only play ranked.
Oh, come on, man.
I only play ranked. I'm sorry.
So Slowo, let me ask you. I just want to know. So when Deli said what he said, which at the end of the day was him agreeing with me that some level of rewrite needs to be done, why didn't you come at him with, "Hey Deli, why didn't you just say I agree with game logic"? You come at me that way. But you don't go at him like that.
I'm gonna keep it a bug with you. I was responding to a text message, so I heard half of it, and I was just like, "Yeah, I agree."
So you weren't paying attention.
He wasn't paying attention.
But no, Deli, well, why don't you just say you agree, man?
Oh, I did say I agree, and then I expanded upon the point.
There you go, Logic. I got you.
Thanks, man.
That's funny. Well, that's you guys lost me in the conversation, by the way. Got very technical, and I was like, okay, yeah, calculations.
Did you blank?
Yeah, I know. I like, you know, that GIF with like what's it called from The Hangover, and all the calculations are going around Zach. Yeah. So
going on.
Yeah, that was me. That was like that was BRAP at that very moment. I'm like, and I'll never look at Halo Infinite the same again now. But
all that said, I'm still not playing the game, and I refuse to play the game. It's 343 correctly addresses what happened with Bonobo and Juneteenth. And
well, there's some other potential damning allegations at 343 I will get into in a minute. But go ahead, Game Logic.
No, that's a better segue than what I was. Eventually I do want to loop back around to the question of, and I'm asking this honestly. I'm not asking this as a loaded question because I'm trying to think through it. I'm trying to remember. So I am just now coming into this era where I actually care about PvP online multiplayer shooters. right? And care about whether or not I do well at them, right? They've never been a thing that I've really cared about, right? Or cared, if I did well or
Logic
didn't.
hates playing Halo Infinite with me, by the way.
I mean, if you want, I can play some casuals with you guys. Play some Fiesta.
Yeah, dude, let's play. I'm telling you, dude, Game Logic and I have been looking for a third. Let's get some Fiesta in, man.
Yeah,
I thought I was your third. Okay, all right.
Well, with the whole Bonobo situation, Mo, like I don't think you're the third
I mean, no,
anymore.
before then. Before then.
Well, hey, I can't defend
Well, that's
you there,
why I
bro.
haven't asked them. I know you've been very, but anyhow.
Well, let's also be clear. That's BRAP asking y'all. I love playing with you guys, but each of you incrementally brings more and more sweat. Right?
Yeah,
And that's not
yeah,
what I'm
Slow-Mo. When I play against when you join us, Slow-Mo, I go from like 20-5 to like 10-15, man. Like you bring some sweaties in there, man.
They gotta get their skill-based matchmaking a little bit better because it seems like it should. They have that. I forgot what they call their system. It's they give an entire team or a fire team a value, a number value, and then they're supposed to line up other teams with the same number value or just like a variance of maybe like 10 or 15 against you. But it seems like that's just never the case. It's always like, and plus remember when they had like their skill-based matchmaking and casual was also affecting the skill-based matchmaking that was in ranked and vice versa. So it was like, I don't know how that works or why it doesn't work essentially, but it should not be like I join you guys and then immediately all you guys are fighting. It's like just diamond players. It shouldn't be like that.
Right. It feels like we get stacked against competition that equates to whatever our highest ranked member is.
Yeah.
But the question, I'm just going to ask this question, and we can just park this because I don't really want to get into it. It's probably a better topic what BRAP is talking about. But the one thing I did want to ask is, as I've gone around to each of these PvP shooters, Apex Legends, Call of Duty, now Halo Infinite, Rainbow. I don't personally get into Rainbow Six Siege, but it's a thing. Overwatch. So, don't each of these things, Destiny 2, don't each of these things have a thing, right? Some bug. In World of Tanks, people constantly complain about artillery, right? Is one thing. That's not a bug. That's a game design thing that's there, right, deliberately. But it seems like each of these things has some little nit that the community insists is like the death of the game, or the one thing that kills it, or the one thing that the developer refuses to fix. Halo Infinite seems to be desync amongst. I mean, there's a cast of character things that you could throw at Halo Infinite. Battle rifles and assault rifles. You can't select them in your game list. Maps, yada yada yada. But I just wonder if each of the other things has a thing that equates in the criminality, which with some of the community views the Halo Infinite desync issue. But I mean, that's a topic that I said we can park till later.
I mean, I think every PvP related game has a meta, and then there are people who will take advantage of exploits. I think that's kind of what you kind of going along with that. Things that weren't like originally intended that are in the game, but the overall that game's community have recognized these things. It has been circulated throughout the community that you could do XYZ, or you could use this particular character and get like a advantage over other people. I'm thinking like you brought up Rainbow Six Siege. I always recall when I was playing Siege, which is a while ago. I haven't played in a minute. I don't know if they fixed this or not. But there was a particular operator. It was a woman. I can't remember her name, but her hitbox was so small. And anytime people chose her, people just get upset. Just like, man, why are you picking her? Because everyone kind of knew just like that operator is going to be difficult to kill because her hitbox was so small, and it's just like little things like that. I think are more like along the lines of exploits, but I don't think they rise to the occasion of like a desync issue that Halo Infinite has. It's things that people would, in regards to like my example with Rainbow Six Siege, it's an annoyance. But not everyone picks that character in every match, so you don't have to see it all the time. And although desync doesn't occur in every match in Halo Infinite, it's still something that, like, when it crops up, it's very random, and you're not expecting it when it happens, and it pisses you off. Whereas we're able to succeed, just like you're just like you see the operator shows and you're just like, God dang it. All right.
Right. I mean, and everything you said is valid. I guess I was trying to split those things up. Like I'm accustomed to, with each of these games, and it's kind of funny that Elden Ring kind of got its set of it this year with people who were vilifying anybody who used magic, right?
Or bleed damage.
Right.
Oh, I love my bleed damage. Love it.
That's what I've always been accustomed to in these games, where people go, oh, you shouldn't you shouldn't use that character, or you shouldn't use that weapon, or the Tech 9 or whatever, when it was introduced into Cold War, like only dirtbags use that weapon, right? And I've always kind of, same as some people say on Elden Ring this year, I've always been like, look, dude, if it's in the game, then it's allowed. Right, or a lot of times these in Call of Duty in particular, we get these things with weapons balancing, right, where a weapon is too OP and then it gets nerfed like the next season or whatever. But what I'm talking about is a little different, and maybe the closest, for instance, I can say is in Black Ops Cold War, for the entirety of the year, right. And I'm not as familiar with all of the past history of Call of Duty. It seems like Cold War was the first time they introduced skill-based matchmaking in non-ranked matches, so there was just a lot of passivity about that, and people complaining because they weren't able to get in matches where they could just seal club, right, noobs and competition because they weren't.
Noobs, I love that word.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, no, that's not the way it should be. You should be forced to play with people who were similar. So that was a thing that they refused to ever change that, right? And that to me was like that one nit that, like, not necessarily a bug in that case, that was by design, but it just seems like these games have often had, I think, or like in Call of Duty, I mean, they did fix it, but like when I can't remember which version of Call of Duty it was that had like the long range knife melee, where you could like melee somebody with a knife from like 10 feet away. And they eventually got around to that, but that was a thing that like existed in the game. You could exploit it if you wanted to, but they got around to fixing it when they got around to fixing it. I don't know. It's tough for me to kind of nail it down, but I guess my point is, it seems like with each of these games, maybe it goes hand in hand with like very toxic communities, which go hand in hand with highly competitive games. There's, and I'm not trying to say desync is just a thing that every other game has a similar thing to. But my point is just, in terms of those communities, they always have a thing, right, that they're always pissed off about, right, that's in the game that the developer hasn't fixed, won't fix, disagree with the design or architecture or the gameplay mechanic of. And it seems like, for Halo Infinite, at least for the time being, it's at least desync, amongst other things.
Yeah. And noob combo, by the way, in Halo Infinite, which I saw the other day. You heard me talking about it too, Game Logic.
I didn't even know what that was until you told me.
I was like, oh, somebody's using the noob combo from like Halo, was it Halo 2 or 3, I think it was? Might have been Halo 2. So that's when you use the plasma, when you have the BR equipped, and then the plasma, what is it? The plasma, what's that weapon, Slow-Mo? The when
pistol? Yeah.
Is that the one you hold down to like
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So you carry the plasma pistol, you load it up, you hit somebody with it, switch it to BR, and then hit them in the head, they're dead. Like, it used to be a little more egregious in Halo 2, but it's not as OP as it is in Halo Infinite, but it's still there. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, somebody's using that. But anyhow, speaking of Halo Infinite, look, we talked about. I think Slow-Mo had mentioned the whole Microsoft's really big gaffe with the whole Juneteenth and the Bonobo. Was it the Bonobo skin for Halo Infinite for Juneteenth, and that there's some allegations out there. I don't know if you guys saw this. I think I think I shared this in the BRAP DM, if I'm not mistaken. And I know I shared it with you, Logic and Deli as well. But there's some allegations going around regarding Frank O'Connor as the creative director of Halo, and they're saying that he's been banned from Reset Era, NeoGAF for racist jokes. They're alleging that he went under the name Stinkles, and he's denied that he's not a racist, and He doesn't use racist stereotypes. He was making some some off.
He had a lot
Go
of
ahead.
he had a lot of racist stereotypes in them messages on those message boards. If he's claiming he doesn't do racist stereotypes, there was quite a few, and
Yes.
it wasn't just regulated to one group. He was definitely very liberal in his targets. So
Yeah. So, given what's happened with 343i, these allegations now about Frank O'Connor, I mean, I like 343i. Yeah, this is the creative director. Yeah. Yeah.
He influenced a lot of what 343 has done with Halo.
Yeah.
Starting from Halo 4.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about anti-Semitic jokes, things regarding things about former President Barack Obama. I mean,
is he creative director or is he franchise director?
I think franchise director. Let me go double check.
I think the creative director is Crocker.
Yeah, so this is this is. And I'm always careful with these kinds of things. But if these let's say the allegations,
the franchise, his title is franchise development director.
Yeah. That's so and this is now most of the I haven't seen any mainstream press pick this up. Just I say mainstream, but I haven't seen any game media press pick up on the stories just yet. But these are allegations that are out there. If this stuff is true, and then we think about the whole Bonobo thing. And it just seems to me like from a PR perspective, like 343i is just not having a good like last 2 months or so in terms of PR, and there's some issues I think there, and when I saw this allegation, I immediately thought about the Bonobo incident. I'm like, wait a minute, this almost makes too much sense now, right? With Frank O'Connor, that happening. Game Logic made me think about something you said about maybe lack of diversity in studios and what that mean and what can happen from that, where things can be, where there aren't maybe checks and balances because you don't have that diverse workforce per se. But Cryptopsy says only too much. Yeah, but it's okay, a little bit longer than that maybe, Cryptopsy. But these are some damning allegations, and if this is true, like I just think maybe Xbox leadership needs to step up and say, you know what, we need to clean house at 343i because something's not right here. The development issues, the Bonobo incident, which was a huge error by Microsoft. Then these allegations. I mean, what do you guys think about all this stuff? Like just collectively, like everything about 343i, these latest allegations. I'll go with you, Deli. Go. Well, let me go to Deli first, Slomo.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, well, I don't endorse what Frank O'Connor was running around saying. I'll tell you that one right now. And as for the whole Bonobo situation, I mean, I surmised earlier in I think it was 2 weeks ago or something like that. I was talking to Mo actually about this and Luca. I was telling them that there is no way that tool sets are able to name newly created assets just a singular name, right? Like in Unreal Engine, when you spawn a cube, it'll say cube 1, or like C1, and then you have the ability to rename it directly at that moment. So when you have this tool set named Bonobo, which is like an old tool set, which is fine, it is what it is. I'm not gonna dive too deep into why they named the tool set that name and why is the icon this and X and Y. I don't care about any of that stuff. But when you generate something like that, it would generate as an item or whatever item you try to generate, right? So skeletal anim 1 or skeletal anim, and then you spawn 2, it'll do camel case, and then it'll do skeletal anim 1 and then 2 and 3 and then 16, 29, 48, whatever, however many you spawn. But it will never spawn Bonobo, and it will never spawn And if it does spawn it, it'll spawn it as like Bonobo 1 or like B1 or B2 or whatever. So when you have an asset generated for a title like this, and to my knowledge, Bonobo has never been spawned in um the game. I think there was an armor set back in the day that they like somebody named something. I don't know. You guys can fact check me on that. But as for reoccurring issues like this, like it has yet to crop up in any of 343's games, I believe. And so when you have a situation like this where they named a um not an emblem, but a title, Bonobo, somebody went out and like deliberately did that, and I surmise that it was just an industry like a internal studio joke, and whether or not that's like a funny joke, like that's obviously it's not a good joke, nor was it a joke, but it's either a joke or an internal joke or just somebody just being insidious and vile, and it's slipping through the cracks. Like maybe they pushed the asset out and QA just their task for QA was to make sure that you can equip it and plaster the stickers all over the which ones are all over like the armor pieces and everything like that. And then maybe that's all they had to do as QA to pass this. Be like, yeah, it shows up in the inventory. It does all of this extra stuff, blah blah blah, and that's probably how it slipped through the cracks. But yeah, I think it was done on purpose. I don't think it was an accident. And I'm familiar with some of these tool sets that they use, and I'm familiar with some of the tool sets that I've used like internally at Ubisoft, and it would never do anything like that. So I know for a fact that it wouldn't just generate a name just to generate a name, and then you just whatever, like oops, my bad, I didn't rename it. So I think that excuse could fly straight out the door. And then that only leaves the fact that either A, it was an internal joke, or B, if somebody was being insidious and vile, and they were caught. I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
And I'll add it in here just because it's appropriate, and then when I was talking to you about BRAP, where I mentioned, when you have engineering teams that aren't diverse, right, you wind up with things like the Google escape, right, where AI and ML in image recognition was recognizing, right, African Americans as apes, right, and nobody thought, right, that maybe that is an error that we should do something about, right, before we let those tools start getting out into the public's hands. But in this instance, a good for instance is if you have a QA team, right, that is all monoculture, then somebody isn't attenuated to even see the name Bonobo come through and trigger on that as a problem, right? Because it may not seem like a problem to them. So I'm not saying that's what happened here, but just to highlight my example of, when you have teams, and when I talk about team diversity, I'm not simply talking about racial diversity, religious diversity. A lot of it is just diversity of thought, right? I don't like having development teams that are built from nothing but people who have a background in computer science, right? Those teams are going to kind of approach problems all the same way. And so you have to stack talent on a team that comes from different academic backgrounds as well, different engineering backgrounds as well. So I just throw that out just kind of as an example of what I was talking about.
No, and I appreciate that. Slobo, you were going to chime in. What were your thoughts, man?
I just wanted to kind of comment on what Deli had mentioned about Paul Crocker, the creative director. He just started, so you know how they've had kind of like a revolving door of creative directors there for Halo Infinite. This latest one got started in February of this year. So that's the new creative director that's on Halo Infinite right now, and Frank O'Connor, the guy that we kind of probably will be diving into his issues. He's the franchise development director. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also, outside of the racial stuff that he said, and in the sexist stuff that he was saying on Reset Era and NeoGAF, was the other stuff coming from other developers who were saying that Frank was influential in the whole mentality of 343 that they needed to be different than Bungie. That they were going to make Halo their thing. Like their Halo games would be different than Bungie's Halo games, and how they were actively making sure to try not to hire people coming from Bungie over to 343 because of that. Which I think, like, if the person is qualified and he worked on prior Halo games, which were great, why would you not hire that person? Like, the hell. So, and then these people went on to work for Certain Affinity anyway. So they're still working on the game anyway. This is just not under you, which is just silly. So,
Well, but slow mo, and I am asking this to be devil's advocate, a little bit of devil's advocate, but also because I have also taken a similar hiring vein where I will be more attenuated to certain behaviors from a candidate based on where they came from. So in the industry you and I work in, I'm sure that we have perspectives of what the cultures of certain companies are like, right?
true.
And,
Yes.
and we think that certain employees from certain of those companies are more likely to be more arrogant, right, than others, are more likely to be egotistical than others, are more likely to be about certain things other than, right, accomplishing the given objective, right, of the strategic organizations that we work for, right? So when I see one of those candidates coming my way, there's a certain additional set of questions that come up, right, to vet them. And sometimes when I'm building a team and I say I need this team to have a certain dynamic, right, because of what they do and where they work and what they're working on, and I may say I don't know that a person from that organization with that background fits on that team. So I just wonder, I just throw that out to maybe not take that dynamic entirely off the table, but say that there are situations in which I can see it would be appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I can see some of that. Like, as 343, you want to make it, like, you want to evolve the game. I actually, like, on my channel, I actually did a video about three years ago saying that Halo needed to evolve. So, like, I do understand that, where you don't want like those like diehard Halo purists who was just like no sprint. I'm like, bro, like, come on now, like, it's freaking 20. Like, it's like you gotta have sprint now. Stop it, right? So it's just like, I understand some things need to change, and you may not want someone around that is just basically hardline stance. I'm only trying to do everything that we used to do and nothing else. I get
Right,
that.
we call it USS Last Ship, right? Oh, what's the solution to this problem? Oh, let's just do it the way that we've always done it, or the way my old team used to do it.
Right, and that's I think we probably all have seen some form of that, in our work environments. But I think when it comes to 343 in this particular situation, the changes they tried to make did not work. Some of them were a little like pointless. Like, for example, they wanted to replace the voice of Master Chief and Cortana. Why?
Cortana.
Why would you want to replace two iconic voices that are like the foundation of the franchise? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, and then they play tested it, and all their feedback was, "This is awful."
I wonder what do we know what the voice sounded like of Master Chief?
No one knows, but it's just like,
was he like,
they tried it
was
twice.
He British?
They tried
Hello,
it.
love.
Christopher Walken's voice.
Yeah. All right. I don't know.
Can you imagine
what's going on
as
with
the Master
Cortana?
Chief? I would probably
Why?
pull my hair out. But
why
no,
are the
like,
Covenant here?
they tried it before Halo 4, and they tried it before Halo Infinite. They tried it twice. This has been confirmed by the voice of Master Chief.
Steve Downs. Steve
Downs confirmed it. So it's just like, what are you doing? Like why are you changing things that don't need to be changed? And I do think they hit the right balance of gameplay with Halo Infinite, as far as modernizing a old school shooter but still having that feel of that old school shooter. I feel like they really nailed that, outside of all the other issues that are there. But it took them like 3 games to get there. It seems. But I think if you got people that like are really good at what they do, and they may have come from. I wouldn't like automatically like disqualify them just because they came from a company that we don't want to emulate.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. And what I was suggesting wasn't to try and suggest, right, that I personally, would, or that I would agree with the notion that you just arbitrarily take that person's resume out of the stack, right?
right.
Instead, it raises an additional 5 or 6 interview questions that I will ask, right, to vet that thing. And I also definitely agree with you. I think one of the other challenging things when you are trying to build a team that is doing, in this specific case, that is taking over an old IP, right? And you want to slap your own brand on it, right? That you want to kind of recharacterize it, that you want to specifically do things that are not just kind of the same way it's always been done. But I will absolutely concur with you that the biggest risk, right, when you go down that path and when you start kind of voicing those things from a leadership and a management perspective, the big problem is, does that catalyze people just making bad decisions just to arbitrarily do something that is inherently different, right? And sometimes I have had to go back and say, no, that's not what I said, right? I said, let's not just try and repeat the old design patterns, right, that were laid by the crew before us. I did not say let's arbitrarily come up with contrivances, right, to drive in another direction when those other directions are bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No.
you did get
I'm
a super
sorry.
chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me get the super chat real quick. Rodimus with the $5 super chat says, this gaming logic and Deli fellows are very smart dudes.
Yes, they are.
I would agree with that. They
That's
are very
thank-
smart.
Thank you for the
also
kind
agree.
words.
I just
I
key off
concur.
of all the great alley oops that Deli sets up for us.
That's funny. Yeah.
The alley-oops.
Yeah. So so it's this. Look, I've been very critical of 343i because of their handling of Halo Infinite. I don't know. I just don't have much faith in this studio, I guess, anymore. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But
Been saying that for years.
look, they wanted to get rid of Steve Downs. Why would you get rid of Steve Downs? They wanted to bring in what's his face to do Master Chief, Christopher Walken, apparently.
The studio has never had its own identity. That's the problem.
I don't know what they need, man. They need something though.
They just
It's one thing to have like your own identity, but like, and I get it. I completely get it, and I support it. It's just that what you got to understand is that if you try to go a different approach and it fails, you're going to have to live with the comparisons to what was, and how what was is better than what you came out with, right? And how if you took it a different direction and it didn't do as well, people look at it as like this is a lesser version of what we used to have. And I think with Halo 4, they had some good things there. I actually liked the direction they took the art, as far as the way that the Spartan armor looks, how futuristic it looked. I like the changes they made there, but like a lot of things didn't fit well. A lot of things didn't work, and so when you kind of have that, and you aren't really keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak, like it's like they tried new things in certain areas, but they didn't try new things where they need to try new things, because as time has gone on, Halo still remained a very old school arena shooter, where if you look at like the market today when it comes to PvP games, I love me some arena shooters, but they're just not like what this younger generations care about. They don't care about those kind of games. They care about more battle royale, this kind of stuff. They care about things with bigger maps and specialized abilities per character and stuff like that. So it's just like I'm not saying they had to go that route, but what I'm saying is that like you gotta start looking at what other games are doing or what's successful, and try making sure you can apply those things to what you're doing. We know about the whole certain affinity battle royale they're working on, but it's like, man, why it take you to 2022 to figure this out? You know?
Well, because battle royale is not the answer to everything. I will
Yeah.
fight you on that. And I will
I would disagree with that, sir.
Yeah, are you sure about that?
Watch when this battle royale come out and see how many people
Let me
try it. Like,
Game Logic.
it's gonna be
let
I'm
them go. Let them eat cake.
Game Logic. I'm going to go on a limb and say that Battle Royale will save Halo Infinite. That Halo
I
Infinite
don't know
will be
about that.
Hell
I don't
no.
know about that one.
that Halo Infinite will be dead for the next year. Battle Royale drops. It's going to have 300,000 concurrent players. I'm calling it right now.
Because they got to
Yeah,
keep
for like
up.
10 minutes.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, literally.
Come on, Deli. 10 minutes.
Sorry, I mean that's the length of a match.
What else they gonna have with that? What other type of in-game things are you gonna be able to do in that game? Because you can't just throw battle royale in there and then think that's gonna carry the day. Because if they're not doing massive updates on that game consistently, you know what is? I mean, people are gonna dry up on it.
They're gonna have a cat tail to go with the cat ears you bought already.
I don't know.
There
man.
you go. And when you kill someone, you're going to hear meow.
Wait, you bought cat ears, Forte?
No, I didn't buy them.
No.
Oh, okay. Was just
I mean-
I'm just joking.
I mean, you get a howling wolf now when you kill people in multiplayer. So maybe you'll get like a cat meow.
I wouldn't know. I haven't played since.
Yeah, you
February.
actually do. When you kill someone, you get a oh. Yeah, you really do.
that
I'm
sounds
not-
like super cringe.
I actually think it's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
But Forte and Slow Mo kind of bring
Must
up
be an age difference thing.
Forte and Slow
So
Mo do
it's
bring
like-
up
Sorry.
a
You,
nice point of
you old
convergence.
fucker.
where
I'm sorry,
they
go
talk
ahead.
about where they talk about 343 not having an identity and Slow Mo, the things that he mentioned about like things change. You know, the solution to developing a new identity or building your own identity, that solution is not just not being the last guy, right? Again,
Yeah.
that is that kind of classic endemic problem where teams, companies, right? We've seen Microsoft spend time trying to not be Apple, right? Quite frankly, if people are going to argue with me about this, Apple made a lot of its bank initially on just not being Microsoft. And in
Right.
many cases, the extrapolation of that evolution is sometimes things that aren't good, right? Apple is not perfect. They have some bad things, right? And some of that comes out of just an intrinsic culture that is just not be right. The other thing, Google has made missteps and mistakes just trying to not be the last person or the last guy. So
Right.
sometimes it drives in the wrong direction, and building a brand and building identity is, to me, building up teams, right, in their own identity is about making deliberate, conscious choices of what you want to be and being able to, as I always say, you should, as a leader, as a company, you should always be able to describe the goodness of the thing you're building without ever invoking the name of the competition, right? Invoking the name of the competition as a contrast and a foil to what you're trying to build, to me, is a sign of intellectual weakness. Because what that tells me is that you have not spent the time really building your case and really building your rationale, right, around purposely driving to what you are trying to be. You're just making it about being anti the other guy.
Yeah, but I also think we never been in a situation, or I could be wrong, where you're seeing a studio that was gifted one of the biggest IPs of all time, and they're going to get compared no matter what, good or bad, overall. And it's like, I don't want to say Microsoft set it up to fail, because they were hoping that they can at least hit that magical formula that Bungie hit with it. And it's just been hit or miss. It's been more missed than hit on a consistent basis. So it's like they're following. That's why I always feel like they can't win in this situation, because there's so many people, like Slomo said earlier, the moment they change something, you have a major part of the community that cries about things that aren't in the game that needs to be there, or things that are added to the game that shouldn't be there. Because I thought there was a lot of good implementations in Halo 4 in the multiplayer that they had. I just didn't like the way the multiplayer performed. I didn't like the way it played. But there were things that they did in it that they completely scrapped when they went to 5. And then the whole story element of 5 was just a complete just miss because they lied to everybody in the promotional stuff on it. So people were pretty much out on that game from the beginning from a promotional standpoint. So it's like they're in a situation where I don't know how they fix it. I mean, first of all, Halo, I feel like it's too big to completely fail because as soon as they come out, sooner or later, the game's going to have enough because Microsoft's not going to let the game die. There's going to be at a point where there's a lot of content left in that game where people are going to play it on a consistent basis. But are they going to ever garner the player base that they want where there's 2, 3, 4 million people playing it daily? I don't know if they'll ever get to that point due to the fact that 343 just doesn't know what they don't know how to like talk to the community in a way where we're going to do what we want to do. And yeah, there's going to be games out there for you that are going to probably be better than this, but you won't get this type of feeling in any other game but this game. But other games may have things that you might want that we don't do. And I think that's the difference between a lot of these battle royale games, a lot of these multiplayer games. They all do something good and something well that another game doesn't bring to the table that they play that game for, where Halo is trying to do so many different things like other games, but it doesn't have even its own identity. And I think that's where they need to kind of start at.
That's a fair point. I almost called you Slow-Mo, Forte.
Well, that's because that actually made sense, and slow-mo makes sense all the time. So, you know. Look at that. I just threw slow-mo.
You just threw him a compliment.
I always throw slow-mo compliments. He's smarter than me, so.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So, all right. I do want to move on to the last topic of the evening before we wrap up the show. Where's God of War Ragnarok? Go. Yeah, right.
I don't know what to say.
I'm stunned. I'm just. All right. God of War Ragnarok. The rumor was we're supposed to have, I think, a showing tomorrow. That's not happening, apparently. I'm hearing.
Yeah, where is that Ragnarok at?
Yeah, well,
it's coming this year. That's all.
That is my question, but
I don't know, man.
I've got the feeling that Forte's back to it's not going to be released 2022.
Oh, I never left it.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yes, you did. Oh my God. Forte.
No. I literally said, okay. I said the snitch thing got me out here in my feelings and stuff. And then I said that then the next day I was like, you know what? He didn't confirm that it was going to be a day, like it was coming out on a certain day. He just said that we're going to get news. He didn't put up a thing saying God of War 2022. He put up a thing with a wiki face of God of War saying, you know, basically be on the lookout for some God of War information. That doesn't confirm that it's coming this year. That just confirms that Sony's going to talk about it at some point in the near future. Until Sony comes out and says it, we are still in play, people. We are still in play for 2023.
Forte, just let them go, man. In about 3 months, they'll be able to say it's coming out this year, and they'll be right if they're talking about fiscal year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
In calendar year 2023.
Yeah, February 2023. That's the.
It's not fiscal year. It's literally this calendar year. It's coming out this calendar year.
Can you imagine the salt that's going to be poured if this game doesn't come out this year? Oh my God. There's so many people. So many. There's only a few of us. There's only a few of us that believe 2023 is a thing, but there's a slew of other people. There's a mountain of people.
I don't usually throw down on picking a side on predictions. I've told you guys my feelings about that whole enterprise. However, in this case, I'm going to choose to land on the side with Forte because I've also said, as I always say, nothing is official until the company officially announces
Facts.
It's coming out 2022. I don't want to hear it.
All right.
All right. It's coming out 2022.
I'm loving it. I'm loving this.
You guys have chosen to go against the snitch. Who was
against the grain. Come on now.
But the Switch didn't come out and officially say
the Switch.
He did. He say
Switch.
It's his cousin, bro.
Did he say
the snitch's cousin? Well,
Yeah.
the Switch doesn't have a track record. The snitch does.
Well, the snitch didn't come out with no dates. He just gave you a wiki face of God of War holding a hammer. I mean, not a hammer, an axe. So you tell me, is that an official confirmation of a game releasing, or is that an official confirmation of them talking about a game that should be releasing? And if I remember correctly, isn't this about the time, like a month from now, when they did their state of play for Horizon Forbidden West? And that game came out when Game Logic? Didn't it come out in February?
To be fair, it got delayed.
That game has come out
delayed.
in Q1 of
It got
calendar year.
delayed.
It got delayed, big balls.
But like, did we hold on? Did we get a accessibility trailer for Horizon Forbidden West a full year early?
Okay.
No.
Okay. So
No.
you get a year early. You can live off of this. You can live off of this hill if you want to.
Well, I can live off of facts. Is that what
Okay.
you say? I can live off of facts. Sure, absolutely.
So the snitch saying a wiki face is facts that game's coming 2022. So
you are dismissing the numbers.
No, but Cory
What?
Barlog saying it's not delayed is pretty definitive.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is he lying too?
No, Cory Barlog actually did say the game is not delayed. Jason Schreier said the game is not
They
delayed.
never gave it a date yet.
All the people who have
And
sourced
if I remember
have told
correctly,
you
and I
it's
also
coming this year.
and I
The
also
only
remember them
people
giving a date
who
saying,
don't think it's coming this year is you, Game Logic, and Rodimus in the chat.
So didn't Cory Barlog say that the game has never been officially delayed? Didn't he say that? Did he say the game has never been officially delayed, Slow-Mo?
I don't know if he said never been officially delayed. He just
Let
said
me go
it
to
hasn't.
Well, he
been
said the
delayed.
game has never been delayed. The game's not being delayed.
Oh, then you're good.
Because
Yeah,
that,
it's
wait,
not
because
being
the
delayed.
game,
Can
because
we?
the game, wait, hold on, because that game was announced for a 2021 release date, and we got pushed to 2022. But they never gave a date on it, so they don't consider it a delay. But that game internally was said to be coming out in 2021, even though we know that was cap. We all know it was cap. But
Was
guess
it
what?
Cap though? I mean, like if Christopher Judge
that
never
game-
got hurt,
No, that game, that good.
it would have been alright.
Dude, that game would have came. No, that was cap. That game was never
Are
released.
you telling me that shit? Nah, man.
That game was never released in
I
2021.
don't find
sir.
you funny, Forte.
You don't have to find me funny.
I think
I'm just-
Forte is just stirring the pot. That's all.
Listen. All I know is, like I said,
You know,
like
you
I
see how he goes
said
back and
months
forth,
ago-
slow mo.
Well, you know what? Like I said a month ago, and I will continue to keep saying it. Every day that passes, I get closer to winning. That's all that matters.
I hope you do win. I hope you do win your $0.
I don't want no money from it. I just want the
Hey,
record.
but you know what? Slow-mo.
I just want Twitter to bow to me when this shit happens.
Bow. No one's gonna be
Wow.
bow. Forte. No one's gonna be bowing to you,
I
sir.
won't
No, that's not even. That's not even on the table.
Hey, you know, Forte, if it gets delayed,
fattest L when this.
Yeah, when
don't care.
Forte gets that L, I'm gonna be dancing. We're gonna have a special BRAP.
Yep, and I'm gonna come on here and say Sony officially did something I would never thought they would ever do. We should release a game during the holiday season, even knowing this is probably the best holiday season they should do it, because there's nothing available in November. But I still don't believe they're going to do it
Bruh,
because
come
they feel like for some reason they're risk averse during the holidays for some reason. I don't know why, but I don't think they're going to do it.
look,
don't
if
think
it's
they'll do
delayed
it.
till 2023, I'll buy your copy, Forte.
You don't got to. Oh, you ain't got to do that.
I'll
Dylan.
buy your copy, man.
Hey, I just want to ask, because I always like kind of looking at data around stuff rather than conjecture and speculation. But correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't every PlayStation 5 first-party title been delayed?
Every last one of them.
Was Rift Apart delayed?
I'll look that
I
up.
don't think so.
No, it
I
wasn't
don't think
delayed.
that was.
It wasn't
Gran-
delayed.
Gran Turismo 7 was. Horizon
Yeah.
Forbidden West was. And I'm not. I will admit
Yeah.
I'm discounting in this question. I'm discounting remasters, remakes, director's cuts.
I don't think Returnal was delayed. I don't think.
No, neither was not Bloodborne. You're not counting remakes.
Demon
You
Soul
said-
remake.
No,
Demon
not
Soul
counting that.
remake.
Yeah, I'm not counting that.
Why not?
It's a first party game.
It's a exclusive to PS5.
Yeah, Returnal. Hey, Returnal was delayed.
It was?
It was delayed a month and 11 days.
That's not really a delay though.
I mean,
That's still a delay.
I mean, it's still a delay.
It's still a delay.
A few weeks.
A month?
change
That's not a
anything.
few. A few is 3.
It went from March 19th to April 30th.
Oh yeah, that's literally what 40, almost 50 days.
Yeah, that's a delay.
So
That's a
wait,
delay,
we're going by. All right, so we're going by the idea that every first party game has been delayed. Therefore, God of War is going to be delayed.
It's a question. You were the one who gave the hypothesis credence by voicing it as a statement. I asked it as a question.
I love it. There we go.
I don't like this conversation, to be honest.
I mean, the only one I think that wasn't
past
delayed
my
was Rift
bedtime.
Apart,
I need to go.
and that's it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Bug Snacks wasn't delayed, but I don't think that was a
Bug Snacks wasn't a first party game.
Bug Snacks does not count.
I think. Well, those are
Bug
all
Snacks is fire,
console.
bro. I'm tired of the
And it
slander, bro.
sucks. And it
I'm
sucks.
tired of the slander, bro.
Hey, the show wasn't delayed.
Well, no, I think. But
There you
those
go.
were launch games.
The
The
show
show's
was
on Game Pass though. Show's on Game Pass though.
but it wasn't delayed. And Miles Morales was not delayed.
That's a launch title. Launch titles didn't get delayed. They released the day with the system.
But
Halo
we're
Infinite
saying-
got delayed. That was a
Hell
launch
yeah,
title.
by a whole year. No, it
Halo-
wasn't. It
Halo
wasn't
Infinite
a launch title.
Halo Infinite should have been delayed 2 years.
It was supposed to be a launch title and it wasn't. So
Yeah,
look,
it
we
it
all
should have been
admit-
2 years.
And
We
they
all
delayed
admit
it
that
well
the
ahead of
Xbox-
time.
We all admit that the Xbox production pipeline, right, is a train wreck. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just asking them about the correlation of the production pipeline on Sony's side. While solid and producing arguably high quality stuff, there's a data correlation that shows that every first party, right, major title has suffered delay.
No, Sackboy wasn't delayed, so that makes 2 games. That's 2
There
games.
we
Rift
go.
Apart and
Yeah,
Sackboy.
there we go. Good old Sackboy.
Oh,
When
3
did
games
Sack-
and Miles
when
Morales.
When
And
did Sackboy?
Spider-Man.
When
yeah.
did Sackboy come out?
It was a launch title, my boy.
It was a launch title once again. So the only
you can
launch
still
title.
delay launch titles.
So the
You can still say launch window.
you delay them before the game before the thing comes out. So the only game that wasn't a launch title that didn't get delayed was Rift Apart.
Rift Apart wasn't a launch title. It was a launch window.
I said that was not a launch title.
Oh, not a launch title. Well, I mean, like, why are you discounting launch titles?
Well, you know what? It
I
doesn't
don't
matter.
care.
Rift Apart completely breaks down the argument. It doesn't. Not
Yeah,
every
look, I
PS5
love
game
it.
gets delayed. It
Okay,
is
right.
not going to get delayed. It's still coming out in 2022. I am going to enjoy when they announce the release date, so I can hear Forte cry. That's
Right,
what.
you're right.
I'm not
It
gonna-
reduces it from a 100% data correlation to an 80% data correlation.
So-
Okay, I'll give you that.
So you really think I'm gonna cry other than just pop the game into download the game on my system and just enjoy it? Really? You think that's gonna really happen?
Yeah, you're gonna cry. Yep.
No, I'm not. I'm just
So
gonna download
Ragnarok,
the game
by the
and
way,
play it.
Ragnarok was originally started off as DLC for God of War, then turned.
Oh,
into
don't
a
say
full-
don't say that. Don't say that. You say DLC too loud, somebody might come for you.
No, well, it was actually the development started as DLC content for God of War
You
2018.
still
Then
can't say that though.
well, okay, but that's what it was. Then became a full on standalone game, and
We don't use it. We don't use the word
you
DLC
make me
when it comes
laugh,
to that game.
man. And then and it was delayed. Well, because the voice actor, the guy that does Kratos, I forget his name now, was actually
he got hurt.
involved.
Christopher
Yeah, he got
Judd.
hurt.
We're good.
Christopher Judd and Sony Santa Monica did not want to move forward without a game. They didn't want to hire Christopher Walken to do the voice of Kratos.
Oh,
so
God.
And
so they
Oh,
just
I found the tweet from Corey Barlog. Here we
go
You ready?
get him, Slibbo, get him.
Aaron, a guy named Aaron 2588 said, "Why won't you all just go on and tell us that Ragnarok is delayed so that we can move on and plan the rest of the year? Seriously, this is getting frustrating."
Plan the
And
rest of the year. It's important.
Corey's response, and this was as of today, actually, because it's not. That's his response. Because it's not delayed.
okay.
That's all he said. It's not
Continue.
delayed.
Okay.
Still coming out this year. Let's go.
I don't agree with that. He's absolutely right. It's not delayed because they haven't made an official announcement.
Logic,
It's
what
been
else
delayed.
can he tell you? What else can he tell you?
He could give a release date.
He can give you a date.
But just because he didn't give a release date doesn't mean it's
It's
delayed.
it's not official until the release date is out.
I am not gonna let this slide when we
No.
stand on this show and slander Microsoft for doing the same thing, for not providing a date when a thing is coming out. A thing doesn't have a date in production pipeline output until it has a date.
Hey, I don't, but at no point have I said all the Xbox's games are delayed just because
Yo,
I
you
don't have
said
a date.
Starfield. You said Starfield. You said they ain't get no date. That game ain't coming out in the first half. That's what you keep saying. You said that game ain't coming out in the first half of 2023.
Right. That's one game. And I said Redfall I do think is coming out in the first half of 2023.
But,
you see
but,
how,
but you,
how
but
I'm
you
not
said, hey,
giving
but
a
we're talking about
blanket
one.
thought
We're
on
talking
all
about
their games.
one. We're talking about one game here, though. One game, Starfield. You say ain't coming.
I do agree.
I think they got way too much work on Starfield for it to come in early next year.
So
versus
you're just,
different
so you're
than Redfall.
So you're just under the assumption that is what's going to happen, right? So this is all assumptions, Slow.
Look, of course, but you know what? Nobody.
You just want to be right.
No.
Just say you want to be right.
Nobody at Bethesda came out and said Starfield's not getting another delay.
Listen.
But we got Corey Barlog here saying because it's not delayed.
Listen,
so it's still coming this year.
The difference between
the difference between God of War Ragnarok and all these other Xbox games that have been absent for God knows how long is we have a developer actually saying it's coming this year, and the developers for these other games are mum. So that's the difference. So until Todd Howard comes out and says, because they ain't getting delayed beyond first half of 2023, I don't want to hear it.
Oh, well, Todd Howard gave us a date of 11/11/2021, and guess what? That date got moved. So Todd Howard telling you anything didn't matter, did it?
Well, clearly, in fact, Todd Howard's a bad choice anyway. Because Todd Howard is the king of lying to us.
Wait, are you telling me that Todd Howard would lie to us?
So Todd Howard can come out.
Absolutely.
So Todd Howard.
Corey Barlog's not a liar, though.
Oh, okay.
Corey would never lie.
Oh, okay.
Neither would Todd.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, he would.
Yeah. So I'm just saying. I just want everybody just to tell the truth here. Everybody just wants to win. That's why we're super emotional about these picks. Everybody wants to win this. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to be wrong.
I don't think this isn't about winning or losing.
For Slow-Mo, for me and Slow-Mo, it is. Absolutely.
Okay, for you, but for the rest of us, it's.
Well, I just believe I'm just going off of numbers at this point.
And for I will actually back Slow-Mo here. For Slow-Mo,
of course you will.
It's about reality.
What's the reality?
The reality of the game is releasing 2022.
How is that a reality that we haven't seen yet?
Look.
I'm just saying.
I mean, hey, to be fair, Forte, 2022 is not over yet.
I know it's not over. They got a lot of time to go ahead and announce these dates, and they still ain't done it.
I mean, I understand your concern that it's vague, 2022, and then there's no there's radio silence about that. But I mean, to be honest with you, until they said it isn't 2022.
No, absolutely. But just like you guys have a lot of information and a lot of data behind what you're saying, like the whole Starfield and everything being moved out of November. This is probably the most open that November has ever been in gaming. And that's the one thing I'll give everybody. I give everybody that. If I told you Sony would be amazingly smart if they did it this year, and I could absolutely see them actually doing that, but I still don't think they're going to do it because they haven't ever done it before. They never done it before outside of releasing a console with launch exclusives during that year. When it comes to them releasing a first-party game, they've never released anything past the month of September. And they always wait. It's like they treat October, November, and December, and sometimes January like a stepchild. And I just believe they're not going to do that. But guess what? The window is wide open for them to do it this year. They have no excuse not to release it in November if the game is ready, because there's nothing there for them to go up against. They will literally own that month if they do it. But I just don't think they're going to do it because they've never done it before.
Well, once upon a time, they had never released games on PC. Yet here we are. And PlayStation releasing games on PC.
And once upon a time, I never thought
do things differently sometimes.
Okay, so this will be like I said, if we're just going off numbers and data, somebody's going to be right and somebody's going to be wrong. And guess what? I'm not going to be mad if I'm wrong, and I'm still going to enjoy the game, but I'm still going to lean on the side of the data that they have given us up until this point to go off of exactly what I think they're going to do.
The
And that's
data.
That's
Well,
all this is going to be.
All the data, like Corey Barlog saying it's not being delayed, that data too?
Okay,
Well,
yeah.
let me ask about this data point, because I want to ask you guys who are saying it's going to come out this year. So especially while Deli is here on the show, are we saying that they are hitting a release of this game on a 4-year dev cycle?
I don't see why not. I literally don't see why not. I mean, they already had the majority of the tools already implemented from 2018. They updated. They already have the engine. They already have meshes, textures, skeletal rigs. They already have they have their own mocap stage. They already have their actors returning. They already have the same team going in, right? Because they're not just gonna, like, at the end of 2018 they didn't lay everybody off. I don't see why not. They couldn't just jump straight into it. I mean, a 4-year dev cycle with a team that is easily like 450 strong. Let me double check that number real quick.
I just ask because that's not what Horizon Forbidden West did, right? And it seems like all of their AAA titles are right, particularly when you consider that this is crossing over the pandemic, that all those games are winding up on a 5-year dev cycle. And I'm just asking, so we're basing
to be fair though, on Horizon Forbidden West's points, they had to spend time to develop an engine as well too. So their blue sky phase was much longer than that of something like Sony Santa Monica. But I understand that if you look at the dev cycle of 2018's, I mean, they had their prototype ready in 2013, 2014. So yeah, that's definitely a 4 to 5 year dev cycle. But once you have the majority of that knocked out, new engine included, I mean, you have 379 employees at Sony Santa Monica. Corey Barlog is working on a new game, so I'm looking
new science fiction game apparently, right?
Yeah, and if you're looking, and if we can chop that down to,
you're not even worried about it.
45 employees working with Corey. I mean, you're still looking at 335 employees. That's definitely more than enough to have a strong base in creating something that's a majority of this stuff has already been established already. So I don't see a problem. Why not? I mean, the median tenure at Santa Monica is 2.5 years. I mean, they're closing in on 500 employees, and they've only lost 8% in the last 6 months. So I think that everything is
amazing continuity. Continue.
Everything is still consistent with everything is still consistent.
He said amazing continuity.
with the data points that they're full steam ahead and they're working well. And
it's making me stroke my beard. It seems like, given all those efficiencies, that it seems strange to me that people would claim that putting those titles in PlayStation Plus day and date is unsustainable.
That's a totally different conversation.
That's a spicy conversation.
I'm not going to do that today.
That is a spicy.
Oh, that's a spicy. That's a spicy conversion right there.
But what? So Smokes actually corrected what I said. I said that this game was supposed to be DLC content. He said no, that's actually not true. He said that Sony Santa Monica said there was I guess parts left out from God of War 2018 that they folded into the new game. So it sounds like this game was pieces of this game, parts of the game, whatever. I don't know how much of that is in the new game, but it sounded like this was already, the wheels were already in motion for God of War Ragnarok.
Also, the more important thing that Smokes asked was, "Where's those channel memberships at, bro?" He need you to get on those channel memberships.
Yeah,
come on, BRAP.
Yeah, I gotta do that. I gotta, come on. You guys have like I like what is it, the 10% or something you guys have on
10%ers, man. Yeah,
I love that. That's actually cool. But I'm not as as creative.
You just tell me what you want, and then I'll make it for you. I'll make your emotes for you.
I want something like I want a Forte emote. I don't know what that would look like, but I just want a Forte emote and a backslap emote.
Lord.
Yeah, and
someone has a backslap emote.
But we
got to make that for you, man. When I start seeing people in the chat asking for it, it's time to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I just I don't know. I haven't.
You
I'm
could,
just
you
not
could
as,
also go with the generic ones too until you figure everything out.
yeah, I guess I could do that, but no, I like what you guys did though. Like I like the 10%ers. By the way, Smokes with the 140 Czar. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Says BRAP, get a soundboard. Developers. Bring back E3. Tired of this drought. Hey man, I miss E3 too.
I'm with.
Yeah, I miss. Somebody said. So Kratasi saying you can be creative. You own a horse for God's sake and chickens. I do.
Lord.
I actually do. I actually that's not a
He
lie.
also has
Do
two
own a
Xbox
horse.
Series X's.
Oh, Forte. I just hooked up the second Series X
Where'd you put it?
on the other TV, the other 65-inch, the Vizio.
Yeah, let me hold a fry. Let me borrow some money, bro.
Yeah,
Let me get $5.
yeah. So that's yeah.
Buy me a GPU, bro.
I'm not. What do you mean buy you a GPU? No, that's
Come on.
no. That's
Prices
remember.
are normal now. Come on.
No, remember. I got the. Remember, I had the Vizio, 4K, and then I got the OLED, and I just moved the Vizio to the other room. So now I have the.
Buy me a game, bro.
I'm not buying you a game.
Hey, come on, bro. Let me get a 4090.
All these people I hooked up for you. Give me a game.
Yeah, it's a $70 game, by the way. None of
Right.
that cheap. None of that cheap
Yeah,
$60.
no, we don't want nothing cheap.
When you say no, that cheap $60 stuff. Hey, Game Loss, you're being messy. You today, man. You're commenting about games day and date in PlayStation Plus. And by the way, the PlayStation Plus. We need to talk about this. It launched, and I'm part of the. I'm on the Premier tier. I gotta say, there's a lot of content there. A lot
of those games should have stayed where they were.
Oh, come on, Forte.
Where were they?
Are you hating
Yes,
now?
now?
No. The games that I think the library in general is amazing. It's just when you go back to play some of those older games, you're like,
Oh yeah, some of those games
This
don't
is-
age. They don't show their age well. Yeah.
This is why people don't go back and play these
You
games.
people, why you gotta say it like that?
I said that's why some people don't go back
Oh,
and play
some
these
people,
games.
But
Alright.
there is trophy support for PlayStation 3 games. Some PlayStation 3 games, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, I
do
like that. Yeah, and actually, I was actually my kids have actually been playing more of the PlayStation Premier than Game Pass recently, because there's just been games that have been on that platform that they've gravitated towards, and one of them was a racing game on PlayStation 3. By the way, just this really hit home for me. My 6-year-old daughter wanted to play a video game today, and she saw Paw Patrol. Actually, I did use Game Pass today. She saw Paw Patrol.
Paw
saw
Patrol's
Paw-
lit, man.
Yeah, she saw Paw Patrol on Game Pass, and she was like legitimately into it. I'm like, cool.
My kids play that too. They like.
Yeah, they play, so okay. So in that it's not a bad game actually. It's for what it is.
Right.
It's some puzzle platforming elements to the game, but it's not a. Again, for what it is, it's not a bad game. I thought it was gonna be like super dumb, but it's actually not terrible, and she seemed to enjoy it. So that was kind of cool, but I noticed that one of the PlayStation 3 games, the racing game, it actually said, okay, loading up trophies. So there's some trophy support for the PS3. I thought was cool. But yeah, there's just a lot of content in that tier, and you can stream games, you can download games. There's just a lot. There's a lot there. There's definitely a lot there, and I think it's I don't know. I think they did a pretty good job with that. But that's just my opinion.
That will keep the PlayStation community well fed until 2023 when Ragnarok comes out.
Oh man! Wow! Wow! Oh, Game Logic, when we get the event next month,
Ragnarok has a better chance of coming out on Game Pass than coming out in 2023.
Wow.
Challenge. By the way, I do not have 14 kids. By the way,
You have
Ryan
13?
Landis. No, I don't have 13.
Oh, okay.
You guys are so slanderous. He only has 11.
Oh my goodness, I have 4.
Damn,
I
Brad,
have-
you're a machine.
I have 4. Well,
Dang,
you know. I have 4 kids. That's it, just 4.
You know, the worst thing about hooking that extra Xbox up is that subjects me to the pain of, hey man, you want to play Halo Infinite? Yeah, man. When you want to get on? I'll be on Xbox.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's just something friends shouldn't let friends do. But
Oh, wow.
it is what it is.
Wow. Well, I will say, I mean, the comms
Especially when you have a PC that's more powerful. Come on now.
Yeah, and I say that explicitly because of the comms rigmarole. I mean, playing on the Xbox. I mean, I've thought about getting an Xbox just to play Halo Infinite because controller people get the big whoops. But yeah, just having to deal with the pain of being on Xbox Live for comms is, instead of being on Discord on PC is, but
Oh, logic.
Also-
I would agree. I kind of felt bad the other day too because I was like, oh, I'm going to be on Xbox, and I think you were like, oh,
Just hop an Xbox party on the
okay.
Xbox app on PC and plug a controller in. Life's great.
Right. Yep.
no, it's the comms on
Yeah,
Discord. The comms on Discord is so much better than Xbox party. Yeah, I agree with you. It's just better. But Slow-Mo, sometimes I just want to play on the big 65-inch OLED, man, and just have at it.
Pick up your tower.
Well, I don't even have to. I don't even have to do.
TV,
I don't even have to do that. I could just run
hook
like
it up.
Slow-Mo. I could run a 25-foot HDMI cable to my OLED. It's like 8 feet from my PC
Oh, then you're good, man.
or 10 feet from my PC.
good.
I don't see what the problem is, man.
I've been
There's no
meaning to do that, man, because the OLED, the C1's actually a pretty good panel for even PC gaming. It's a great TV.
The C1's freaking awesome, actually. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Gets me aroused every time I turn it on.
Whoa, no, TMI.
So, Brad,
Yeah,
are you
Yes.
you coming up in the Q3 queue for the Steam Deck?
Actually, I was Q2 and I actually passed on getting it.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I got
All right.
I got the email and I decided not to get it. Like I was like, you know what, I'm
Should have
not.
bought it and sold it on eBay.
You know what, you know what?
Just
It's funny.
saying.
Like I was thinking about it, but when I went through with the PlayStation 5 on eBay, it was like such a bad experience. And then I was gonna pick up the Steam Deck, and because J-Dub at the time was actually looking for an extra one, and I was gonna sell it to him, but then he was able to get like extra. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna pass, and at some point I'll get it, but yeah, it's not something I'm gonna be playing. I just know I wouldn't be using it a whole lot. Like I can't see myself laying in bed playing it. That's just not me. So
I was just curious because
Yeah.
I'm in the Q3 queue, and there was that post on Twitter the other day that the Q3 queue is starting up early and that they're shipping those units in higher volume. So I'm on the precipice of making that same decision myself too, right? Should I just cancel my order because I'm not really gonna play something on that when I have the ability to play on a 3080 Ti?
I have mine.
he said 3080 Ti.
I've had mine for about 2 months now. I like the Steam Deck. I probably in the past month I've probably played it more than I played my Xbox Series S. So, I mean, it's of course I play primarily on PC, but when I went on vacation, it came in a real good handy. I mean, I can literally play anything on everything. I can connect PS Remote Play to it and then play my PlayStation games on it. I can use xCloud and play my Xbox games on it. I can play natively through SteamOS my Steam games, and I can sideload Windows 10 and then just install Epic Game Store and play those games that I got on PC as well. It's a portable PC, and it's really, if you're like cool with tinkering with things, it's not the SteamOS like software isn't quite there yet with like being very seamless. It's still got some rough edges there, but it's pretty good. I think it's only going to get better. I see a year from now, I can see a lot of people jumping on one, knowing that like I could just emulate all the Switch games and they perform better. On my Ryan just asked, how's the battery life? The battery life is actually pretty good. And it gave me a different focus to think about when it comes to kind of the games that I play. Because if I play something that's very, very difficult to run, then you can actually pull up in your on your Steam Deck all your stats, almost like it's MSI Afterburner. What my frame rate is at that time, what my CPU usage, my GPU usage is, how much RAM is being used, and the most important one, what my battery life percentage is and how and a estimate of how much time I have until the battery drains. And so I can kind of manage that. And if I'm using up too much power, I can lower the settings to give myself a little bit more battery life if I choose to do so. It's pretty cool. I like it.
No, those are all good points. I've been thinking about it, and I don't travel as much anymore, and I was like, do I need this to be like my in-laws' occupation device? And I was like, no, I could probably go visit my in-laws for a number of days and do without gaming. But then the other thing I've been thinking about is, I mean, those are all good points that you bring up. Again, in the vein of somebody who likes to tinker. But I'm looking here around the studio, and I have a number of boxes that I already have to be a sysadmin for, and I just don't know that I want to add another one to the mix. So those are good points. Is the battery life on the Steam Deck better than the battery life on the Switch?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
I mean, back before I used my Switch as a frisbee, I probably would get a good, like, I mean, depending on the games I played, because like some games, of course, like it all kind of depends on what kind of games you're playing, but like I would get like spotty performance and then not so great battery life. Whereas with the Steam Deck so far, I've had like really, actually like pretty decent performance, especially for the games that I'm playing, because like some of the games I'm playing aren't exactly super demanding. It's been my JRPG station right now, as far as at this moment. I've been playing Trails of Cold Steel 1, Disco Elysium. I beat Disco Elysium last week. Persona 4 Golden, and what else? There's one more RPG I've been playing. It's like the tip of my tongue. I can't remember, but I've just been really enjoying a lot of like games that I would rather play when I'm kind of like relaxed. I kind of think about playing those games, but then like I don't feel like getting up and going into my office to my desk and playing on a computer.
Yeah.
I can just grab my Steam Deck and play it there, and it's like that's the convenience of it for me.
Yeah. I mean, again,
and no stick drift on the Joy-Cons. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's an issue with the Switch.
I've actually used I actually have an Xbox Series controller. I have connected to it through Bluetooth. So that's what I've been using for the most part, because I'm not a fan of just using the controls on handheld devices anyway. So
yeah. Well, look, gentlemen, I do need it's at 11:30. I do need to go to bed because I do have 4 kids and a horse and a dog and a lot of chickens. But hey, everyone in the live chat, please do me a favor, smash that like button. We only have 52 likes. Let's get it up over 100. So, but no, I want to thank first of all, I want to thank again everyone in the live chat for coming out and hanging out with us this evening. Also want to thank our guests this evening, Deli. Always a pleasure, man. If you want to be found, let everyone know where they can find you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Deli. I'm a former AAA game developer at Ubisoft and now work for Microsoft. I can be found on Twitter at Agent Deli. That's probably the fastest way to reach me. So if you guys have any questions or you guys want to hang out, you guys can find me on Twitter. I'm usually there whenever I'm at work. Usually on when I'm at work. So yeah, I tweet mundane things and I tweet game design stuff and just my general thoughts about games and games in general. So if you guys are looking for information, it probably is not, or looking for any insider information, I do not have any.
No doubt, man. No doubt. But Deli, hey, man, seriously, always a pleasure having you on, man. Really love talking shop with you, man. Definitely want to get you back on again sooner than later. Game Logic, man, thank you, man. Always a pleasure having you on. I'm not going to ask if you want to be found because I already know the answer. But no, man, always a pleasure, man. And now, by the way, I am actually going out and buy some stogies tomorrow. So thank you for that, Game Logic. What's that?
Awesome. Let me know what kind you get.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know, man. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know. It's been a while since I've had cigars. So, but no, man, thank you for coming on, man. Always a pleasure. And then the man, the legend, Slubbo Backslap. Slubbo, you have a show tomorrow.
Sure
Tell us
do.
about it. Tell us about it.
Damage Per Second podcast, episode number 90 will be tomorrow on my channel, Slow Mo Backslap, with the same name, with the homie Gaming Forte. We're going to have a great show tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come on through. We'll really appreciate and glad to have you. And we're going to have a good time. So yeah, come through. Let's do it.
No doubt, man. And then Forte, last but not least, Gaming Forte, the man with the beautiful smile and the sensual voice.
Yeah. Oh no, Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, and PlayStation. Yeah, great show. Shout out to Deli, shout out to Game Logic, Slow Mo as always. BRAP, you actually stayed up late tonight. You're up past your curfew. I couldn't believe
dude,
it.
I'm ready. I'm ready to pass out, man. I'm ready to go to bed. To be honest, with you, I got to get up early, so you know. But
yeah, definitely. But definitely, guys, go out there. Yeah, definitely go out there and play some games, guys, this weekend. There's a lot of them to play. You ain't got nothing but time. So enjoy your weekend, enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, 3-day weekend coming up for those us here in the U.S. So it's 4th of July holiday. So enjoy that extended weekend playing, some video games or spending time with the family and friends.
Be careful with your hands.
Oh, I took that a wholly different way, but yes, you're right.
Oh yeah. Be careful with your stop it. Be careful with your hands this weekend.
You guys are talking about fireworks, right?
Yeah,
don't. I hope so.
Yeah, don't be like Jason, Paul, Pierre, whatever his name was the football player. No, seriously, he blew his fingers off with fire
M80.
M80. Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, be careful this weekend.
Yeah, definitely be careful. And pause is right, Smokes. I don't know, something's wrong. I'm tired. That's why my mind went that way. But
no, that's just how all our minds work sometimes.
Wow, Kratopsy says, "I trust you with my hands, Forte."
Oh shoot.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. So
shoot
okay.
DM.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So on that note, yeah. By the way, so there is no BRAP next Wednesday. BRAP will be on vacation.
What?
I'm heading out of town, so I will not be here, but we will be. I may do a BRAP ramp. I'm coming back on Thursday or Wednesday night. I'm coming back late Wednesday, so there'll be no BRAP on Wednesday, but I may do a BRAP rant like Thursday, Friday or something. I don't know. Keep you all posted, but yeah, no BRAP next Wednesday. So. On that note, we're out. Thank you, everyone, for Rodimus says, look out for Halo news dropping tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be
good
exciting.
News or bad news?
Well, I'm sure
it's
going to
be... Is it more like racist news?
Yeah, Rodimus, I'm sure it's going to be wonderful news, Halo. Yay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything exciting regarding Halo. Maybe we'll get cattails. Maybe that's the news tomorrow. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, news tomorrow is the news tomorrow is they're renaming Craig Leroy. That's the news.
Leroy Jenkins. All right, go ahead, Game Logic. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, remind people while we're throwing shade that at least 2 of us still play the game a lot. Actually, at least 3 of us, right? I mean, Deli said up until very recently he was playing it a lot also.
Oh, Rodimus is saying co-op beta. God, are you fucking kidding? Co-op beta, really? A co-op beta? Come on.
At least you're getting a beta.
I mean, yeah, at least we're getting co-op, I guess, right? I mean, that's better than nothing. I would have taken cattails over co-op beta. But by the way, Game Logic is right. Two individuals on the panel here are actually still playing Halo Infinite. Actually, no, 3 because Deli plays. He plays
Deli
ranked.
plays.
Deli does play. So
I literally only play ranked.
Yeah, so 3 of us are still playing Halo Infinite multiplayer. Therefore, we could be very critical of this game because we're actually still playing it. So, anyhow, yeah, I'm not really excited by the co-op beta announcement. Like, that co-op should have, like, for me, like, I have no reason to want to go back and play that game because I thought the campaign was mediocre at best.
I'm waiting for co-op to drop so I can buy the campaign.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, if you haven't played it, yeah, I would, yeah, but I played it, so the way the campaign was designed, I really feel like screamed co-op to me, but I have no interest in going back. I just felt like it was a dead world. Just, I don't know. I didn't really agree with a lot of the excitement over the campaign. It was decent, but not great in my opinion. So
I think the campaign was fine. I just get way more enjoyment out of clapping cheeks.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. Yeah. So, but yeah, so we'll keep an eye out for that announcement. And anyhow, I'm sure you guys will talk about it on DPS tomorrow. Maybe it's one of your topics if that happens. So
Maybe.
yeah. So all right, we're out, everyone. We'll see you when I get back from vacation. We're out. Peace.
Peace.
Ragnarok in 2022.
Yes, Ragnarok 2022. Go.